Hello and welcome to Gamers Without Borders, and we are back for more Fortnite action, and we're ever closer to that $3 million prize pool. It's day 3. My name's Banks and I am your host, and today we're going to bring you one region in particular. Yes, it is North America, and it's the finals. NA are going to play out their remaining 6 matches, and it's time for a showdown, so why not bring you a caster from across the pond? It is the duo themselves. It is Clay and Levin. How are you today, boys?
Doing really well. Doing really well. I'm super excited. Of course, I've been on MENA for a couple of these regions and sessions, and it's been great. It's been great, but of course, getting a chance to watch NA is super exciting, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I am as well. I know you said across the pond, but this is right in my backyard this time around, so I'm excited to see how these players play.
Well, yesterday was an intense match across all 3 of our regions, and we had a dominant duo in Middle East and North Africa, to which you are familiar. We even had a pickaxe final kill to claim that victory royale, and obviously sheer carnage across EU and NA. So yeah, we're very excited to cover those, and we've got so many vehicles in the final circle. You'll see. But in case you missed it, here's a recap. Can't believe how many duos we saw during that recap that were in bushes. They're either in bushes or they're in tanks. Just that final circle kind of situation that we've been witnessing over the past 2 days. It's mad. Okay, as you saw, it was pretty intense across all the regions yesterday. But as a quick reminder, today is just the NA region, and we're going to close it out. So my guess is shockwaves, vehicles, maybe a bush here or there. Love it. So let's get the overall rankings graphic up on your screen for North America. They've had 2 days worth of matches. That means they've had 8 in total. Levin, take us through the points we've got here.
Yeah, it's looking really good, right? As a lot of you, if you watch NA, you will be familiar with a bunch of these names. And if you're not, some names to very much look out for, the likes of Degen and Chap, of course, Frets and Macwood, a personal favorite of mine, sitting up at the top. Okis and Nut, of course, were phenomenal, right? Leading the pack in terms of points. And if the highlight reel we just watched was anything to show for what we could be seeing today, it's going to be a very, very fun set of games.
It's crazy. We got over 100 points separating first to eighth. And just as a reminder, if you come in the top 5 in your region, that's what qualifies you for that LAN event later in the year for the $2 million prize pool. Clay, I mean, take us through some of these names as well, because we're going to hop into, a few that are further down the rankings, and then you can actually let us know who you think should be in that top 8, who should be climbing into that top 5 LAN event position.
Yeah, definitely want to see Degen and Chap up there. It would be good to see Chap at a lane again. It has been a long time. We get to see Sizzlucky and Shades nearby, Carry, Fatch there, DeRoller, N-Pin, Punisher there. We've got a lot of big names from NA East and NA West up here that are just not doing as well. Krizix and Jelty, want to see them really step up and perform, because, again, they can still make it up there if they just pop off today.
We had great chats earlier this week as well with Mega and Dubs. And, dude, I'm seeing them further down the ladder than I anticipated. But you know what? There's plenty of time. We've got 6 matches today until we close it out. Plenty of points to be had. Now, Gamers Without Borders partners with many charities every single year. And these charities are all working towards a common goal this year in particular, to provide humanitarian aid to those who are less fortunate all over the globe. So if you're interested to find out any more information about these charities or about this event in particular, or if you'd like to donate to these causes, just head on over to watch.gamerswithoutborders.com and all the information is right there. So for all you Fortnite fans, especially if you're a fan of the most recent updates, this is a 0 build tournament. So what's the meta? Get in a car, put fat tires on it, or chonkers as they like to call it, and get that extra acceleration, repair it constantly, watch the points roll in. Levin, take us through this format.
I was going to say, I was loving your explanation, man. You seem like you're up to speed. Maybe next time around, you got to roll up and compete in one of these. Look, we got 3 regions in total, but today we will be watching the closing of North America. 44 teams per region, totaling up to 40 matches. We've had 2 days already. This is the 3rd day, but this will be the final day for North America. And once you get into the top 5, you will qualify for a live gaming and esports festival in Saudi Arabia. So really, really exciting stuff on the line here for the players competing tonight.
And Clay, why don't you take us through this point system really quickly?
Yep, we're going to have 32 points for that victory royale. It'll drop by 4 once you get to second, then down by 2, then down by 2, and it'll start to go with those incremental points. So getting to that top 4 is really crucial, as well as getting elims, because as you see, 3 points per elimination. And we hop over the prize pool. This is going to be the EU's and NA charity prize pool. $250,000 for first place. That is a lot of money to give to a charity of your choice.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop there, right? Because, even if you get last place, you still got something to give, right? So everybody wins in that sense. And I think that's, one of the beautiful parts about the competition today, right? Everyone gets to take something home for a charity of their choice.
Exactly. That is exactly what we want to see. An all-inclusive event, but that top 5 spot is what you're really looking for. Now, today's schedule is looking a little bit like this. We got 6 rounds in North America, and ideally for this schedule, what you want to keep your eyes on is the timings to the matches, so then you can just kind of correspond with your time zone that you are in, just to make sure that you are around. But yes, all the way up to match 14, we're going to be closing it out. And we really get a feel for which duos are going to be closing in on these top 5 spots today. And 2 million on the line later in the year. So let's recap what we've seen. And we saw that recap video a little bit earlier in the broadcast. Levin, talk about some highlights from yesterday that you witnessed, particularly obviously in the MENA region for you.
Well, yeah, I think if you're talking about the MENA region, there is the one highlight, right? You go back. Any victory royale is a sweet one, right? Any victory royale is sweet, but a victory royale finished with a pickaxe against a team that's competing with you for first place, chef's kiss right there.
Chef's kiss indeed. Now is your chance to make a move on the top 5. The battle bus is filling with our NA competitors. It's time for our first match of the day. Levin and Clay, take us in.
Looking really forward to it, man. I can't wait. Of course, there's been great competition. We've seen some phenomenal games over the past couple of days. But to see the closing of NA tonight is going to be really something special, Clay. You know how competitive these guys can get, and of course we're here for a great cause, but these players will be in it to win it. So, as we head into this first game, any early predictions here? Anything you're excited to see coming into the early game, Clay?
I actually haven't got the chance to watch as many of these games as I wanted to, so I'm coming in with a fresh mindset of I just want to see some off-spawn engagement, some fun plays, and I want to see another pickaxe elim.
I think we all want to see some form of pickaxe elim at some point in today's games. It's going to be really, really good though. I think the big thing, of course, is like you said, the off-spawn contestation. A lot of teams probably going to be heading towards Command Cavern. You can expect to see a couple teams even towards Tilted. Of course, these guys have played a couple of games against each other's in these lobbies, and so there should be some sort of understanding between people of, okay, maybe we're going to be fighting this team here, that team there, but at the same time, it's all or nothing in these final set of games, right? So you're going to do whatever you can to make sure you come out on top.
And you can see why Chap and Degen are coming out on top. They have no one around them, Levin. They have the, I believe it is Butter Barn down there to the southwest and up to the northeast. They have that gas station POI that they can just kind of freely roam in between and get all that extra loot. So, and on top of Rocky Real's loot, they're getting 2 other spots as well. They're looking really good.
Yeah, of course, that's going to be one of the stronger POIs on the map right now, and great positioning in the zone as well. Gives you many options of where you need to go. Right now, this is going to be one of the many options we see people partake in. We've got a battle bus here on the move. Yoda having to flee on his own, not a teammate by his side, but tanks. Tanks are going to be something we see a lot of, and this is exactly what they can do. Rain absolute havoc. The battle bus looks like it's on its last legs right there. Not much HP left in it. This is something to behold. A tank rolling through, and it won't be the only one, I'll promise you that.
And it's funny because the tank as well is on its last legs. It barely is up. You see 382 HP out of that tank versus the 2,500 that it spawns with. So somebody was lighting that tank up, so they barely are able to go through. But look what's right there in the ground. It's a repair torch. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna chill.
Yeah, and it's good you mentioned repair torches, right? Because repair torches are key to how these games play out. Not much cover, right? It's not like regular build. If you do play a bunch of Fortnite yourself, you know, typically, you know, someone shoots at you from somewhere, you can plop up a wall, a stair, whatever you need to sort of just give you that extra bit of protection. You don't really have that option in no build. And so, in terms of cover and protection in open spaces, number 1's going to be vehicles, number 2 going to be cow catchers, and so if you want to be able to have prolonged amounts of protection, having a repair tool to keep your vehicle in the game as long as possible is absolutely huge. And of course, these cow catchers, you just saw Jafe chuck one onto his truck as well, is going to be super useful for being able to ram, right? The attachment on the front of the car, ramming through people is going to be that much more fun with the cow catcher on it. So cow catchers and vehicles going to be a massive part, and also making sure you have a repair tool as well to keep it in the game is huge.
And look at Kurt's inventory here. We get to see something that we didn't see yesterday. The Rift to Go. It has been a while, Levin, since I have seen any Rift to Goes in competitive competition. So I am very, very intrigued on how these players are going to use it. You see it in Vert's inventory here, playing there with Cease. This could save a lot of players, and we may see a lot more stay up in this later zone.
Yeah, Rift to Go's being back, right, makes these games a lot more interesting. I expect to see them used a lot late. We see in these games, right, a lot of the time when we get to those final moments where there's only a couple teams left, things can get dicey, right? A lot of the times you'll see people making these plays like this one here, right, with where he's using the shockwave, trying to get some sort of elevation. I expect people will save them until later in the game, right, and just Rift to Go up, make sure you're high up in the sky so no one can really sort of bother with you for a couple of seconds. Give yourself a breather. Macquid and Frets, not a team that I expect will need many breathers. These guys, when it comes to build, 2 of the better players in the region, and so I'd like to say there's not much difference there when there's no build as well. They of course are sitting in that top 8 right now, but they'll want to have to retain that, and not just retain that, but try and push into the top 5.
And you know, I'm intrigued to see how many of these players know that with that repair torch, Levin, you couldn't refill the charges on it. You just have to go to one of these gas stations and look. Threats and Macwood are going to be on top of a battle bus trying to take down these players that do have a tank on the other side. And
flipped over.
They did flip over, and unfortunately for Macwood and Threats, they're using that cannon launcher. Doesn't do as much damage to individual structures, if you will. It doesn't put out as much DPS as well. It does a lot of damage to players, which is what I think they were going for there, but they definitely could have gotten rid of that tank early if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting dynamics in these lobbies, right? Everybody knows we want to have a vehicle, right? Having a vehicle equals good, simple math. But if you see somebody else with a vehicle, you know that that's good for them as well. And so what do we do about that? Well, typically you want to try and eradicate their vehicle from the game, make them obsolete in that regard, sorry. But that can cause tension, right? Because if someone's shooting at me, I ain't just gonna let them shoot at my vehicle and I ain't doing nothing about it. And I probably would say the same for you as well, Clay. So a lot of the time we can see sort of people get almost petty with each other in that sense. Oh, what, you think you can take 3 shots at my vehicle? Well, I'm gonna take 4 shots at yours. Oh, you wanna take 4 shots at mine? I'm gonna take 5 shots at yours. It can be this sort of back and forth that typically ends in just mass destruction anyway. But a lot of the time that makes it just that bit more fun for us as viewers, right?
Oh, it definitely does. And look, we got a team down below SJ in the bush just hiding out as DeRoller and Inpin are going to have a tank. And, ooh, I like what they're doing. They're setting up on the edge of zone here, going for some fish with the tank.
That's interesting. I think floppers and fish will be a key part of these games, especially as people are more desperate to stay in them for as long as they possibly can be. Of course, we have some teams who maybe even will try and heal in the zone or out-heal the rest of the lobby in the zone with their collection of heals. And I like this from Empen and D-Roller, of course. Targeting those fishing spots. Just making the process a bit quicker. So they don't want to actually sit there and fish, but they do want to profit from that loot. So 2 tanks to their team.
Oh my God.
Lots of people will just, do anything to have 1. But these guys have the 2, and so they definitely will be a team to watch out for in these games. Jafe doesn't seem to care though. Jafe says, you know what, 2 tanks, 2 schmanks, I'm not too bothered about that. I'll sort you guys out. But he should be careful, because if he gets too close, they will have more than just a couple words to say.
Take a look at how players are spread out on the map so far. Trap and Degen just making their way in. Knight and Rogue Shark right in the middle of the map as we move through. Logic is seemingly just hiding in a bush. Yep, that seems exactly what they're doing, trying to make sure that they don't get spotted because their teammate is not with them. They went down. As we move over to Out Trumped and their teammate, we see they know someone's nearby, but I don't know if they can pinpoint quite where.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because as the zone sort of closes in more and more, you have to be a tad bit more aware of your surroundings. Of course, you are sort of vulnerable from a 360-degree radius. It was very interesting, Clay, right? Seeing certain teams sort of try play on the zone line, stay as close to the zone as possible, just have the zone on your back. Because in theory, right, yeah, that eradicates, half of our angles, right? We don't have to worry about behind us. We just have to worry about the 180 degrees in front of us. But then you just had loads of teams on the MENA region, at least, just playing in zone anyway. So you were always vulnerable from 360 degrees, it felt. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see similar today, where we just have a bunch of teams taking advantage of storm play and just being able to lurk in that zone. Or if you're Rogue Shark and Knight, who are doing incredibly well in the previous days, we're just going to take power positions like these on the hills. And you can see they've got a wealth of loot. The Mythic Burst Rifle, some shockwaves, some cow catchers, a repair tool. There was a rift to go on the ground as well. Plenty of ammo as well to just let shots off like this. And if you know Rogue Shark, you know he can hit them. And so these guys are looking to sort of build on their point tally from previous days, and they're definitely setting up to do so.
And I think This mountain is very steep. I'm about 90% sure there's only one way up it. If you can get up it and no build, I'm not sure. So for them, having that power position centered on zone 11, they're just bullying everyone. That's literally their game plan is, hey, just shoot everyone because the tank's not going to run out of ammo, right? They get that chance to do so. And we swap over and another shockwave play comes too late. Jaith is going to get knocked.
Yeah, Jaith got really uncomfortable for him. Fortunately, he was able to shockwave himself into a position that allows Kurt to pick him up and res. But these are sort of the uncomfortable conversations teammates will start having with themselves. Degen and Chap, they want it all. And this is where the Rifter goes. We'll have some fun. Degen and Chap entering the Rifter go with the truck. It shoots them way up into the sky, but they will come back down and take Jaith out for good. Kurt will escape with his life, but his teammate cannot say the same. Nice little elimination there from these two, and it probably won't be the last.
That's just amazing to see. I love the interaction between Riftigos and vehicles. It's just, it's so Fortnite, right? Like, I don't know how to put a meaning to that phrase.
I get you.
But those that know are gonna know it's Fortnite. So I love seeing it.
Now this isn't what we're accustomed to seeing in Fortnite, and this is a play that I don't think these guys would have been planning to make either. Macquid and Threats, a shockwave play that sort of sends them onto different paths. I think it is advisable that you stay as close to your teammate as possible, so they do quickly regroup. But things are already starting to get awkward. You can see in the bottom right, the minimap, there are so many different little arrows. Those represent the different teams in their vicinity. And so it makes moving to that safe zone, that white line, very awkward potentially.
I definitely think they were trying to chug splash there, and Macquid accidentally threw down the shockwave.
Yeah.
And then both of them were like, oh god, no. And so they had to come back, because you could see, like, he went back for that chug splash. Interesting rotation here for them, though, as we see Rogue Shark actually going to go down. I'm not sure how Zimmy was able to get them there, but that's a pretty big elim, because we're talking about how great they are at punishing players in a great spot like that. There's no real reason for them to go down, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that sort of played out and just sort of what that is. Rogue does get finished, and that is super unfortunate for those guys. I think where they were positioned would have just been easy to assume that those guys will be fine. There won't be an issue. There won't be a problem. Chap and Degen, I like this position. We saw a lot of teams just sort of chilling, hiding, and I think that makes sense, right? You want to try and get as deep in the game as possible. We know you continue to sort of accumulate placement points as the game goes on. And so if you can just sort of sit in a bush, hide in a little corner, hide in a maze like those guys are, and just allow the rest of the lobby to deal with itself, yeah, sure, why not? I back that movement.
I back it as well, and look at Crackly and Joe. They've got a tank up above, and they also have that rocket or Anvil rocket launcher try to do some damage to these tanks, but you realize it doesn't really do as much as you want it to unless you're really chaining those shots together. You have to make sure you are, because if you're just shooting one here and there, it does 400, which is a good amount of damage in a single shot, right? Like, that's a lot of damage comparatively, but they really need to chain it together, because otherwise they're going to just be able to repair towards their vehicle. And wait a minute. What a shot that was. As well, Levin, they went ahead and hired Peely.
That is, I kid you not, that's not something we see often in like any form of competitive play, but here's something I actually have seen, right? So some nice strats here. Look, Peely would probably do a better job than me in these games, so if you can get that extra advantage, why not?
And it makes even more sense, because the reason you don't hire them in a normal competitive game is because Peely would try to pick extra builds, try to break through, and cause a lot of disruption. But there's no builds to go through. It's okay to have someone roaming around you.
I think it's a great strat, honestly. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Black Wolf, who was doing incredibly well earlier, can't say the same right now, and these are how quickly the tables can turn in this mode. One moment you can go from looking like the most dominant team in the lobby, the next you are actually waiting in the lobby for the next game. And that could be the fate of this duo on our screens, or solo now on our screens. Oh dear, Blur antics. Blur, you gotta be careful, my friend. It's not looking too good for Blur. Yeah, Blur will go down. Joe and Crackly will sort him out. And they look like they want to deal with Heiser as well. He's a solo, and I don't know if that was the optimal play to get out. He clearly was worried about his tank combusting, which it seems like it will do now. But in the action of leaving the tank, his HP dwindles and eventually he will fall. The margins are so fine in these lobbies right now, Clay. It is not easy whatsoever. And this zone is making it such a difficult task for many of these teams to actually just get about and traverse this land.
And, you know, I thought I was good at using a tank in Fortnite, and then I'm watching this, and there's so many things that I'm seeing that I just didn't think about beforehand, and it's like, okay, wow. They're, like you said, they're so innovative, they're so creative, and I'm just shocked about how well these pros do use it, considering they didn't really get the chance to use it all that often before, unless they've actually practiced this game mode. Is Deuce and Jamper sitting up above, getting some tags, as Zimmy looks to be getting pushed.
Yeah, Frets has got to be careful. He might start getting pushed if he just keeps wandering out on his own like that. Cease, Vert, you guys all right? I don't think so. Cease will go down, Vert will escape with the Rift to go. I'm sure Cease will be wishing he would have popped that maybe a couple moments earlier. Oh, dearie me. The cow catchers come out, and it's an example of why they are so useful, right? That extra bit of cover, you can just sort of crouch behind them. They aren't foolproof, right? And so if you don't have your angles sorted out right, things don't look too great. And Shades will know a lot about that. Gets caught out in the open. Sis Lucky now on his own as a solo. Macquid and Frets, though, not using cow catchers, just using the natural terrain of the bushes, and that's what I mean when it comes to cow catchers. Cow catchers are great, but if you haven't got the angle sorted out, you will fall just like that. People can sort of just see your head peeking over. These are professional players. They got their aim on point. They will hit the shots, so do not give them a chance to connect. And that's exactly what we're seeing happening all around the map right now.
Cowcatchers also block that tank rocket that you're seeing come through, as they're exchanging shots tank to tank as well. Meanwhile, Chap and Degen are just chilling, Lemon. They said, you know, and this is not actually something that we haven't seen from Chap. I remember back when he was playing with, I believe, Edgy for a while there, they would just sit in bushes and just wait for people to move by them. Then they would surprise attack and get their surge and go about their day.
Look, the way I deal with problems in life, if something's getting too hectic for me, I just stand as still as possible, and eventually they just won't be able to see me. I go invisible. And that seems to be the philosophy being applied here by Degen and Chap. Look, they're not bringing any attention to themselves, and so, you know, people, with all the action going on, Clay, people just sort of forget they're there, you know what I mean? These guys are literally just sitting AFK almost, but it's working to a charm, and you're seeing just people taking each other out. The feed is going off right now. People just going down endlessly. Frets and Macquid have done a brilliant job, and now that they've practically cleared out the whole lobby, they finally set their eyes on Degen and Chap, and so the Rift to go will come out as their vehicle combusts. They will be taken out into the sky, and they will have to glide down. Chap actually will not survive the trip to the sky. He will fall, and so Degen now all alone. What can he do in this situation? Frets and Macquid, they've just made this such a difficult lobby for anybody to have a breath of fresh air in. They will continue to hit shots. His Lucky will fall. These guys are on a tear. It is nice to see, but Crackly and Joe really have been special in this lobby. They have 8 eliminations, and they're looking to try and make that 10. Macquid will fall, and Frets surely will be joining him soon, right? These guys just haven't skipped a beat one bit, Clay. Frets is trying everything he can, but it's not going to be enough. Macquid and Frets will fall.
10 eliminations for Joe and Crackley. What a game from them. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Called it a little bit too early. There was still someone out in the zone in the middle of the water healing off. What?
I told you, man, you gotta always expect the one guy out in the zone healing. People will try it. People will try it. I don't know if it's going to be as successful in terms of getting the victory royale, but people will try it. And look, if you're that guy, I didn't actually catch the name, right? It was so quickly in that moment. If you're that guy, you just got second place. I'll take a second place, right? That's a decent chunk of points for the leaderboard as well. Doubt they got many eliminations, but that's beside the point. We just saw a dominant display from our winning team in that lobby. An excellent display from Joe and Crackley. Really nice stuff. 10 eliminations on the victory royale as well. Clay, we got plenty more games just like this one coming up. So guys, if you're sticking around, be sure to stay and watch. Right after this break, we got more action on the way.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ पिलानी किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा वो हो जाता गांव में लोग रहते क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा क्या पता बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है तो हमारा ये है कि भी हम हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह तो हमारा पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया वो तो हम क्या करते हैं जैसे 4 बजे तक आज यहाँ दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
We know you hate it when you have to wait to get back into the game, but the wait will end in seconds. In real life, some people don't have the option to restart. Millions of refugees and displaced people have their lives on hold, eager for a chance to move forward. There are 84 million people around the world who were forced to flee due to war, conflict, violence, persecution, and climate change. And we are here to serve them, working day and night to provide them with life-saving aid and support. And you can be part of it. You can help people forced to flee gain access to life-saving aid like shelter, food, water, medicine, and much more. Donate to UNHCR. Help refugees and displaced families rebuild their lives.
Welcome back to Gamers Without Borders. We are one match into day 3 of our Fortnite tournament over the weekend. Joe and Crackley with a 10 elim victory royale. That's 62 points towards that scoreboard. I'm excited to see how it affects that leaderboard, I gotta say. So if you're only just joining us, we have some in-game experts on board to talk you through some of the best bits from North America. Levin and Clay, welcome back to the desk. Who was healing in the storm? That's what I want to know. We gotta see these match results, Levin.
Yeah, honestly, I really want to see because it's not often you get to see a team who will just sort of heal on his own like that. I believe it actually was Pilkey and Cash there sitting in 6th. So as much as they came 2nd place, right, because they didn't have any elims, right, they sitting there with 0 elims on that game, they just don't get as many points, right, in terms of just how that game plays out. So again, really nice stuff to Crackley and Joe sitting at the top there. 62 points from one game is insane, right? Just such a big difference between what everybody else in the lobby was able to accrue. These guys are bouncing right from the start, looking really confident.
They are indeed, and I'm excited to see how it affects the overall rankings. We'll have a look at that a little bit later on, so cast your minds ahead if you can. Clay, you are now casting North America. Any key differences that have stood out for you in terms of gameplay from North America and MENA?
We're seeing even more car usage, but I feel like the car usage that we're seeing is very calculated and I wouldn't say thought out more, but just very methodical, if you will, and what they use in positioning. So I'm excited to see how they continue to adapt.
And Levin, I have a question for you, okay, mate?
Sure,
As a fellow tall person, do you feel like we're at a disadvantage when it comes to gaming? Like,
100%.
You know, it's that age-old saying at the gym, isn't it? You got longer levers, therefore it's more difficult to lift things, move objects. It's difficult. Therefore, finger movement and reaction time is affected. Am I right?
I'm 100% with you. I'm not bad at Fortnite. it takes my body longer to do the actions, right? So like I tried to build and it traveling through my massively freakishly long arms, it just takes longer, you know? There's just not much I can really do about that. So look, I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, but look, chuck me in one of these lobbies and I'd still have a great go, do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's something I've got to ask Clay as well. But Levin, first of all, how tall are you? We've never met in person. I've heard that you're a very tall person.
Oh, he's 5'8".
Add a whole nother foot to that. I'm 6'8".
6'8".
Yeah, I'm 6'8".
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think I can say fellow tall person. I'm a 6'2". Okay, let's leave it at that. Clay, okay, a question for you. If you were thrown into this NA lobby, how do you think you'd fare?
I mean, now the question is, do I get a harpoon?
The question is, you have Levin as your teammate.
I think we fared pretty good. I mean, I think we got the background. We know the rotations, and I'm sure we could handle a tank together.
Good. That's what I like to hear. Well, it's almost time for round 2, so I'm going to leave it in the hands of Levin and Clay. Take us in, guys.
Yeah, we'll be hopping in here shortly. Man, if I didn't have a harpoon, then I wouldn't feel as confident. But I mean, Levin, let's be real. We know we're going to find a harpoon on our rotation through. You know it's going to be in the inventory. And you know we're going to get elims with it.
Yeah, no, man, I trust you to know all the best spots on the map for harpoon spawns, right? I know you're efficient with your fishing, right? So it shouldn't be too difficult for us to cook something up. Look, a lot of these players will have to start cooking something up a bit different if they want any chance of making it into that top 5. We already saw plenty go down in that last game, and I'm sure, you know, we're going to see plenty more happen in this one. NA is a region that never fails to disappoint, and so as we watch these teams drop out of the battle bus, I'll be honest, I'm really looking forward to seeing Macgrid and Fretz again. I sort of like the trajectory they went on in that last game. I'll be honest, I'm sad the way things ended for DGen and Aegis as well. Obviously, we know those guys are going towards Rocky Reels. And if I'm being honest, I really did want to see them make it all the way. I thought they would win the whole thing. But in the end, it didn't quite work out that way. Nevertheless, though, what I want isn't matter. It's just about who actually goes out there and perform, isn't it?
It is, and we may see some contention at Rocky. I'm not sure. I think those purple arrows will keep flying over. Yeah, it's going to be Macwood and Threats. They're going to Chunker Speedway. They are not going to contest Chap and DJ. That is not on their list of to-do things. And everyone seems like they're spread out except for over at Command.
Yeah, look, that sort of northwest side of the map is very, very congested. There's so many teams. Looking at the sort of bottom right, where you have Crackley and Joe at Kondo, Frets and Macwood, you know, at the bottom there as well. Like, there's a lot of really top teams over towards the bottom right. But as we head to sort of the middle of the map, Tilted Towers, a lot going on right now. Punisher has the time to pick Zemi up, I believe. Black Wolf and Heiser, who we saw make some waves during the mid-game of last game, going down early. So some instant shakeups here in this second game. And the implications of those will very much shine through as we push throughout the rest of the games. Rhythm and Assassin need to be careful because Punisher and Zemi up on that blimp will have the high ground advantage. And those angles can be very prominent when looking to take fights. Punisher will be hoping he can find some form of medkit, any sort of white HP that can get him up to scratch. And the jetpack as well does sort of help him traverse around the blimp a bit. But all in all, Clay, jetpacks haven't really been something that you want to be using in these games, right?
Oh, no. These pros' aim is just going to melt you as soon as you try to take to the skies there. And look at that. Cease is a great example. Cracks the overshield in 2 shots and does a little bit extra damage there as guns running away. There's just really not a chance for you to even use that jetpack.
Yeah, these guys were on a roll last game. Cease and Vert. Things did sort of come to a quick end though. Cease went down rapidly. Vert wasn't able to use the Rift to go quick enough to get them out of dodge. And so maybe this time, if the opportunity arises again, maybe they'll just have Cease holding the Rift to go and let him use it when the time is right instead. Okay, so now the team that started off today in first place, landing over here at Command Cavern, one of the best spots on the map. And a spot these guys will be incredibly familiar with. Landing towards the blimp side. This is how I typically land at. I don't like to get down and dirty, you know, at the bottom there of Command Cavern. I like to start up here. Plenty of loot, plenty of henchman chests, You can get a scan as well, a cheeky little scan, Clay, and figure out where your opponents are and then go about your business.
That's my go-to as well. I like the upper portion as well, just because, like you said, you get so much more information. Punisher, though, is going to pick up the jetpack. I want to see how they use it, because, you know, Punisher's been around since the first iteration of the jetpack in Fortnite. So he was there when it was first put in. And, I mean, if anybody would know how to use it in this lobby, it'd be him and Chap.
True. Great point. They definitely will be reminiscing about the good old days, as I'm sure we will do from time to time. Even this here, right, in terms of the actual outfit these guys have chosen to wear. One of the throwback outfits. You know, something I don't see many people wearing nowadays. I might rock it, you know, for a bit. I probably won't, just because I never take off the 11-2K skin, but, you know. good to sort of throw on some throwback outfits from time to time.
Punisher's back over already, and I think Punisher used one of those siege cannons to like shoot himself back and forth in combination with the jetpack, and that's what I want to see from some of these players, and I want to see going forward with Minna, is just like this min-maxing of your rotation, because there's so many options when you land at a place that does have a blimp and an IO station nearby. You can just kind of go back and forth between multiple different areas of that POI and the outskirts and get a lot more loot.
Yeah, claiming loot has been a very interesting dynamic in these games in terms of just understanding how much you actually can claim. Of course, everyone's sort of traveling with these vehicles a lot of the time as well, which means you can sort of get about just that bit quicker. And you can see it, Crackly and Joe, they already have their eyes set on someone who is trying to travel in a vehicle. You saw just sort of a battle bus scurrying away at the top of your screens just a moment ago, but these guys will definitely be a team to watch. They had a bunch of eliminations in that last game, and I expect that to be a trend we see in these games today.
Narwhal's gonna just get eliminated. As we hopped on board, as we saw him kind of just get shot as they were driving by, and Carey and Fatch just continuing their aggression there on the K-Burbs. They don't want them to get away. They don't want any reboots to come through, and if they're going to be in a tank still chasing them down, this is not the best play, because that tank is, if it hits, K-Burbs is not going to hit that shot, and now I was going to say is going to have to go out.
I think this is probably the biggest gameplay difference, right? If we could bring Barney back, right, to have a little bit of a chat, right, in terms of just, of course, with the Rift to Go being added into the loot pool again, a lot of these teams just sort of using it to just really get back out of trouble, right? You know, you get into a bit of a pickle, pop, Rift to Go, I'm out. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I think that is the bit, like you said, the biggest difference. It's such a safety net, right? We haven't seen it in so long, but everyone in Fortnite competitive right now knows how to use it. It was such a quintessential item back in the day of, if you are, it's kind of like the med kit, right? When you go for the heal up, if you mess up the med kit and the Rift to Go, everyone's gonna remember that moment. So like you said earlier, you know, C's wasn't able to get that, I think it was C's referred, wasn't able to get the Rift to Go off, so now they gotta swap it over.
Smart. I think that'd be me in the duo, right? It's just like, no, you messed up last game, give it to me. No. Messed up last game. Like, even now, right? Like when I will play, you know, a hype cup or anything, because I'm not good enough to really play in the cash cups. Yeah, you might see me in the cash cups next season round, but you know, if I'm playing in the hype cup, right, I'm the one carrying the pads. I'll let my teammate carry it one game. If he messes up, yep, it's done. You're not carrying pads anymore for the rest of the tournament.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? You don't want that same thing to happen again. It makes perfect sense to swap it up, and we've seen it throughout Fortnite a bunch of the swapping over. As we move over to Casker and AV, who are at the bottom of Greasy Grove in the zone, trying to minimize and maximize the amount of shield that they have coming through. Macwood and Threats, though, right on the other side of Sizlucky and Shades, they could get into an engagement here, but it looks like they're going to go around the outside of them, just like we saw Threats do.
You know, like these sort of dead side rotations. from Threats and Macwood. Cerebral players, ones who very much understand what it takes to be a successful team in most Fortnite lobbies. Now, to be fair to them, this lobby isn't most Fortnite lobbies, right? No build competition isn't something that's been around for a great deal of time. But if there were anybody I'd expect to be able to make that adaptation relatively quickly, it would be these guys. And it's good to see them chilling over by that battle bus. That will be a great deal of help moving forward.
Lando and I couldn't see the name there. Up on that high ground, as we move over, it's gonna be Kevin. Have a great spot to keep just getting your elims if they continue to be aggressive like they are. But one of the problems that we notice and we're seeing is that some of these players don't know the angles of these tanks shooting. We saw it as that player was running from Sleepy and had to use that rift, right? You have to make sure that you have the angle right. So luckily for them, they realized, hey, we've got to angle downwards so that both the gunner and the cannoner will be able to get shots on that. And that's Rogue Shark and Knight who are trying to run away in that truck. But as I say, it's got to be one shot.
That's one of the biggest fears in these games, right? You lose your vehicle, all of a sudden the game plan adjusts, the game plan changes, and you almost have to find a new path to victory.
And where do they find a vehicle, right? Like, they've all got to be gone. Maybe there's a taxi right there that they could use.
Who wants a taxi when you could have a tank?
Exactly. That's definitely a quote right there. Who wants a taxi when you could have a tank? I mean, theirs looks...
I don't know. In the wrong context, that's hilarious, right? You know, you pop up to the airport after a flight. Yeah, man, you waiting for your taxi? Nah, I'd rather just have a tank, mate, you know?
I think everyone would be very confused by that statement. But it looks like there's a couple of those semi-trucks inside of Logjam. So if they wanted to re-up, they could. But look at Dukes and Jamper. I said this yesterday. That's my kind of Fortnite right there. Just sitting, hiding, waiting for someone to come by you, and just ambushing them.
So when you talk about your kind of Fortnite, you just mean like really ratty Fortnite?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the most fun content-wise, right? Like, think about it. You find this, like, really cool spot to hide out. Like, okay, remember when the agency was in Chapter 2 of Fortnite, and there was the vault down there below? I would open the door inward and sit on top of the door, so that if anybody tried to open the vault door, I would just drop onto them and eliminate them.
Yeah, you're one of those kids.
Hey, you gotta get creative with 11.
Yeah, well, I definitely wasn't a fan of you back then.
Hey, listen, my thoughts with it was, why do all the work when I know someone's gonna do it for me?
That's your philosophy of life, right?
No.
Just Fortnite. Just Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah, cool. I get you. All right, well, Rhythm in a bit of trouble. I say a bit of trouble. It's a lot of trouble right now. Oh dear. Assassin was knocked, and he looks like he's gonna be following his path at any point. The Rift to Go actually does save him and allows him to sort of just escape. But boy, oh boy, those are some filthy shots from Blurt. I think he wants to try hit some more. You gotta be careful. There's a tank looking at you, mate.
It's more than a tank. They've also grabbed themselves a chunkered out semi-truck just for protection against the tank, or at least from the other side. See, this is the innovation I was talking about. These pros somehow always find a way to take something so seemingly normal in Fortnite and just elevate it.
100%. These guys are the best of the best. And it's why, you know, we talked about, you know, oh, look, it's no build. Are we going to see much difference in the kind of names who do well? And the answer is just no, because not only are these guys elite when it comes to building, they are elite in all other facets of play in Fortnite. And that suits them incredibly well in these games as well.
So it's good to see they've got another truck. They're 11, you know, they're making their way over. And look how many of these players are in tanks or trucks, and we're finally having a tank-v-tank battle. And, well, as I say that, Linda's like, you know what? Nah, there's a semi-truck there. It's much easier to get rid of it.
And this is interesting, dipping into the storm to pick up another vehicle to make use of. These guys clearly got everything on lock. You saw Rhythm there actually in the background. He actually has gotten back up to a decent level of HP. Of course, he will be playing as a solo, but nice to see him still in the game, kicking.
Yeah, after he got beamed like that, I didn't think they'd be up at all. Somehow able to get out.
Yeah, that's that Rift to go, man. That Rift to go is nice. Look, another game where we are heading to the northwest of the map to close things out.
But notice there's a lot more people this time around, 11. I think we're sitting at like 38 people. 35 as 3 players do end up falling there. That's a lot for a no-build match. I mean, we haven't seen that one in a little bit. Everyone's seemingly finding a spot for themselves on the map, except for Dukes and Jamper there, as they're getting tagged up from multiple sides. Jamper will fall. But a lot of people still surviving.
I think the big thing, though, in this game is just sort of, if you look at where that zone is, this zone is playing towards this one hill, right, in the zone. And so, ultimately, whoever sits at the top of this hill on these high elevations is in the better spot to do well as the zone continues to close.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but look at Punisher. They don't really have an option. They're in the same spot that Dukes and Jamper were in. They went to go grab the loot, and now they're going to be focused. And oh no, you know, Punisher's just going to get eliminated there. He shockwaved into the wrong bush.
I bet you would have been shockwaving thinking, I'm going to be safe, get some time to heal. But no. Lando had something else to say about it. That's his first elimination in this game. We'll see if he can add to that tally as things move through. Thatch, not able to hit anything with the burst assault rifle there. Uncharacteristic of him, I'd say.
They're just too used to using these tanks right now, 11. You know, they've relaxed a little bit. They're having fun, and so it's like, you know what? Let's just hop back in the tank and get some shots. As Jath and Kurt, they're kind of finding the same issue as they're hitting their shots on their tanks.
Ooh, nice. This is just target practice for them right now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. As Logic is getting off of a Rift to go is...
Did you just try Rift to go those two with him?
He did Rift to go them.
Gosh. I love that. I absolutely love that. The beauty of the Rift to go. You can just cause absolute chaos for your opponents while just staying incredibly calm and safe for yourself. That's nice.
I think that's it's one of my favorite mechanics of Rift to go. It's like looking back at the previous seasons, as Logic is able to get away. Is like your team would be prepping the Rift to go. You'd be there, middle, bottom layers. You're going. There's a team below you, and you don't know is ready for that heal off, and you pop that Rift to go, and their entire game plan is ruined because of it. This is Lucky and Shades, unfortunately, going to get taken down by Rogue Shark and Knight, who went from having a very awkward situation now having 4 elims, and oh no, Rogue Shark threw one Cowcatcher too close to the other, and now they're just double spraying it. It's gonna break here soon.
Yeah, DJen in chat being the bane in Rogue Shark's side. And just as I was saying as well, in terms of the way the zone plays out, look at the zone. It is playing towards his hill, and you're seeing DJ make the play to claim it for herself. What a play from DJ, and a wonderful knock. And this is the power position. This is where they want to be. That team was sitting up there. They were looking comfy. Lando was looking so good. And in just a matter of seconds, they're out of the game. But now DJ and Chap, they get taken out. You see everybody playing towards the top of this hill. The shockwaves used to bounce people out. DJ will be knocked, and Chap now has to fend for himself. This is just what we love to see. All these teams vying to try and claim the top of this hill. It is literally king of the hill right now, and that will continue to play out in this zone. Rogue Shot goes down as well. He gets knocked. Blur hitting some key shots. Vert hitting some of his own as well. And he currently sits at top of the hill. Cease and Vert are kings of the hill, but can they be kings of the lobby as well? Can they close out the rest of it? Blur will be a thorn in their side. He's doing a great deal of damage to everybody else, but from this position, it just looks way too easy for them. They can just rain down on everybody else. Even with Vert's low HP, he has the time to just heal. Everybody else in the lobby that could be a threat is sitting right in front of their eyes, and it's going to be a joy of a time. But they just need to make sure they don't choke this one out. This is theirs to win. Can they close it? Can they win it? Can they connect? Blur is making it just so difficult for them. They need to take this tank out as soon as they can, and they will. Blur will go down, and so Yoda just scurrying around trying to do anything he can. Clay, he's gonna hop into another tank, but I don't think that's gonna be enough. They think he's in it. He's trying to get it. Oh my goodness, can he just actually survive for as long as he possibly can? I don't think it will be enough. Yoda, you're gonna eventually have to get out and take the fight, take the shots. Can he do it? He can't. He will go down. Vert and Cease will win the game. Kings of the hill and kings of the lobby. What a way to do it. Clay, we saw all those teams fighting for the hill, and the team that won it wins the game.
Yeah, we saw them actually make a jetpack play to go up and then shockwave Chap and Degen off of the top of the hill so that they could claim it. What a beautiful play through. Ended up with 10, 11 eliminations on top of the Victory Royale 11. They really want to move into that top 5 spot.
Yeah, and look, games like that will definitely work wonders in that regard. What an amazing second game on the last day of NA. Clay, it's been an absolute pleasure. This will be goodbye from us, but stick around after this break. We got many more games of NA coming right up.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ, तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ भी पिलानी है। किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज यहाँ दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
We know you hate it when you have to wait to get back into the game, but the wait will end in seconds. In real life, some people don't have the option to restart. Millions of refugees and displaced people have their lives on hold, eager for a chance to move forward. There are 84 million people around the world who were forced to flee due to war, conflict, violence, persecution, and climate change. And we are here to serve them, working day and night to provide them with life-saving aid and support. And you can be part of it. You can help people forced to flee gain access to life-saving aid like shelter, food, water, medicine, and much more. Donate to UNHCR. Help refugees and displaced families rebuild their lives.
What's good, boys? We are playing Tis the Season right now. We're gonna see who can guess what seasons these items are from. Let's run it. Oh. Okay.
I have no idea what season that is.
I don't even know. I'm gonna say I'm saying season 8.
Well, okay, I'm saying season 6. Oh.
Ooh, this was a good season. This is one of the more recent seasons. So this had to be. What was it?
I think this was season 10. Pretty sure this was season 10. I'm not sure.
All right, I'm gonna say season 10 as well. World Cup meta.
Oh, this is World Cup. This is season.
Yeah. So what?
I think this is season 8. Chapter 1, season 8, probably.
Yeah. So whatever World Cup, whatever season we were in, the World Cup was this season. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was season 8. Was the World Cup? Pretty sure.
Season 8, season 9. I'm not sure. I think season 8.
Yeah.
Final guess.
What's good, boys? We are playing 'Tis the Season right now. We're gonna see who can guess what seasons these items are from. Let's run it. Yeah, I don't know. It's the season we're in right now. I honestly couldn't tell you what season we're in right now. Too many to count. So I'm gonna go with Chapter 2, Season 1.
I think we're in chapter 3. Are you not in chapter 3 right now?
I don't know, bro.
Okay.
Too many to
Whatever
count.
whatever we're playing right now, this tournament that we're about to play, I think it's this tournament. This chapter.
No, that's not the question. You gotta. What season is it?
What did you say?
I said Chapter 2, Season 1.
Okay. I guess chapter 2, season 2.
What is that trap? Was that ever in the game?
Which one? Oh.
We got porter rifts with the shield, the portable, or we got the portable bubble, the porter rifts. Oh wait, no, that's a junk rift, right? Or what is that? Is that a porter rift or a junk rift?
I don't know what that is. Is that?
I don't know.
Was there ever a fire trap? There was a fire trap, right?
This is just shield bubble. This is the hoverboard
so
shield
like
bubble meta.
Chapter. Wait, that's a junk rift.
This was on the OG map. I'm gonna say season 9.
I'd say season 7.
Dude, we are so off on the other one.
I think that this is season X for sure.
Oh yeah,
chapter 1,
season
10.
X. This meta was fun, dude. The Stark weapons,
that was Stark.
Season X.
Bring that back, baby. Bring that
was
back.
so fun.
Alright guys, we just finished 'Tis the Season. I think we did horrible, Dubs. How do you think we did?
Yeah, we definitely botched it. Didn't get a single one right, but yeah, all good.
we got one right.
Next.
We got one right.
We go next. GG.
Welcome back to your opening tournament of Gamers Without Borders. It's Fortnite, and we got $3 million worth of charitable donations on the line, and we are in the NA Finals. It will be decided today who goes through into the top 5, and therefore into the LAN event later in the year. So, we're going to have the results of the previous match that I will take you through soon, but with 2 new casters. It's Vivid and Panda joining me on the desk. How is it going, gentlemen?
Oh, it is going well, Banks. And, shout out to Eleven and Clay for talking over the first 2 games of NAEs. They did such a great job keeping all the hype. And it was great, Panda, to actually get to watch some of these NA games. And now me and you get to actually cast over them. So it's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, I've definitely been spectating the action leading up to this point. So it's going to be really cool for Vivid and myself to be able to break some of this down. But listen, Banks, man. we only get you for a few minutes.
Literally less than that. Because I'm going to say it is almost time to already jump out of the battle bus and into our third match of the day. So that is me signing out. It was short but sweet, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. Enjoy your 2 matches. And after this match, you'll be graced by Kelly on your screens to host it. So enjoy, boys.
All right, see you later, Banks. Vivid, man. NA East, it must feel like home for you, huh?
Oh, listen, we are back on the home region, Panda. You know, I do keep up with the EU scene, right? They are pretty easy to keep up with because usually there are some dominant performances at the top. But I just know so much more about the NA players. You know, I've played on this region. I did for like 2 years or something like that. And now obviously doing other broadcast work on this region. Love all the players that are over here. And listen, it's very, very exciting actually for me because, Chap is actually playing in this event. He hasn't played Fortnite in a very long time, but No Build has actually brought him back. And for those of you who don't know, he is an ex-teammate of mine, one of my quote-unquote favorite teammates. I'll just put quotes around that to not offend anybody else and, not boost his ego too much.
I'm telling 72 hours and Poach.
Oh, gosh, don't.
I'm letting him know. I'm going to be like, listen, Vivid's ditching you guys for Chap. He said you guys are the worst. But no. Speaking of Chap, man, got to kind of tune in with him for a second as they load into the battle bus. But, man, this is going to be interesting, right? Like we mentioned before, we've been able to cast over this EU action. And we've seen the way that Europe plays as a region in this zero build game mode. But this is our first experience of getting to watch NA East and break it all down for you guys. So there's definitely going to be some different gameplays to the way that this works. But I've already been watching. I already know that a tank is still a huge portion of the gameplay for some of these players.
Yeah, and you know what? Panda is also a little bit new. Kind of returning to the game is the Porter Rifts, and we've already seen some very cool, unique interactions with those. Like, I saw Chap and Degen. They actually liked to, chill out in their truck that they would find, and then they would just use the Porter Rift whenever they were in bad situations, and it would just bring the truck up with them as well. So there were a couple instances with that. But, another one of those items that does a pretty good job of keeping these players safe, right? You just float all the way up into the sky. But, I'm going to go retract my statement, right? And I'm going to put quotations around safe, right? Because we saw in the end games, these players are so good. We had the likes of Threats and a Macwood. I believe it was game number 1 showcasing their aim when Chap and Degen actually were up in the sky using that Porter Rift. They just got shot right out of the sky. So you are not safe up there at all.
You're definitely not. And you're also not safe if you're on the other end or the receiving end of Cease with an Anvil launcher. And that's what we see there, automatically just hopping up on the roof there, trying to take some shots at an opposing team there up on the hill. It's actually Sujay trying to just loot there in the distance. But listen, if you're around Cease, man, you already know he's good at getting those tags. So he's definitely going to be looking to engage there. Just like we see this team here, trying to utilize the rifts as much as possible. 1 shot left, 1 HP in a dream. But YouTube, Tessie, if they have anything to say about it, they're going to try to take him out in the sky. And they do. Gets the knock there onto Trick. Now 1 player remaining. It's a 2v1. Flappy just trying to run away, hoping that the overshield will be enough to hold him back, but it's not. Sky Tommy takes out Flappy, and that's going to be sending them back to the lobby in this game.
We actually just saw those 2 eliminations there, but Tommy at the end there and TC, they actually have a total of 4 eliminations, so there was actually even more action going on before we actually got to tune in there. So those guys are starting this game off already with 12 points.
12 points to start the game. Listen, that's a solid start, but you got to stay in it, right? Obviously, we've seen how aggression in the early game can obviously reward players, but we've also seen players like Noah Riley and Vidil struggle when they have that early aggressive mindset in play. So I'm interested to see how it's going to affect them, just like I'm interested to see how it's going to affect Fatch and Carry here in the tank, immediately just moseying on through, looking for any opposing players that they can. I actually had a recent conversation here with Fatch, and we talked a little bit about Zero Build, and he's definitely been obviously a huge competitive player for a long time. However, Zero Build has definitely piqued his interest as well.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the case for everybody. I mean, Zero Build is just so fun. It's kind of hard to ignore the game mode, right? You have to play it. It's way too fun. Obviously, we talk about it a lot, how a lot of these players are professional players. They did make a name for themselves with building in Fortnite, so that is kind of like what they do, what they practice, what they scrim on, and everything like that. But, you know, this as a fun game mode to do, and also with the introduction of this game mode, there's been so many tournaments that ignoring it would kind of seem like, you know, you were just hurting yourself at that point, because, you know, it's just fun. There's been so many tournaments. It's just really, really beneficial. So if these players are like playing 8 to 10 hours a day, they might be starting to split up those hours between building and no build, because I just don't see a reason why not.
I don't either. Look, Vivid, I think this is the sign. You got to come out of retirement, represent the casters here, go zero build mode, and just take it home. Because realistically, it's all about aim, and that's why we see players like Knight, who's a veteran in this space, just deleting Larson there, taking off that shield and the overshield. TK, though, gonna stop the aggression there in the distance and keep Knight at bay for now as they try to rotate away. The shots are raining in, shield broken again. Will they be able to get away the truck? The truck's barely holding on here as far as health goes, so it's gonna be close, and there it is. The knock onto Larson. Knight, Rogue Shark immediately gonna push here and just try to get involved with this action. Honestly, great play from them. TK, I think it's all up to you now.
Yeah, it looks like TK is just going to be dipping out, leaving Larson behind. And, you know, shout out to Knight and Rogue Shark. These guys at one point were very, very dominant. I don't remember the exact season, but I remember their low ground play just being something that everybody was afraid of. And they were just so dominant over the course of like 2 seasons. I believe it was the season that introduced all of the water, actually, if anybody remembers that, where all like the sharks came into play. And they were just so good during like a stretch of like 2 seasons. But ever since, you know, a little bit of slow approach to these tournaments for them, but they have stuck together. You know, we always talk about how Dubs and Mega have been together for so long. Rogue Shark and Knight, you know, not as long as them, but they might be like the second longest lasting duo on the NA East region.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right, and it's kind of nice to see duos come back into play here as a competitive game mode, because we get to see some of these players that we kind of spent a lot of time with in years past coming back together to say, you know what, we got the chemistry, we can make some big things happen. But speaking of big things happening, it's Dictating and Gandhi just trying to get away from what looks like D-Roller and Inpin. If you know anything about D-Roller and Inpin, they do not miss. So this is a great duo to see in this competition, but not a great duo to run into for sure.
And I love to be able to speak on my like player experiences, and D-Roller was actually somebody that I actually trioed with. It was me, Calazzo, and D-Roller.
Okay.
It was actually, I think it was like one of my last teams that I actually played with before I stopped playing competitively. But D-Roller is so good. Let me tell you, like, he is very smart. He knows how to like follow. Obviously, he was sort of like the fragger on the team, and then me and Calazzo were the leads and like tarping and everything like that. But giving D-Roller space in any way, shape, or form, like, give him like 5 seconds and just like a little bit of space, and he was getting elimination in the end game. Like, it was crazy. He would just find and wouldn't even really need any help. So very, very strong player. Just to back up the point that you made there about him not missing, he can find these eliminations very, very fast.
Yeah, and that's what's important here. I think a lot of players, they dive into zero build and they're like, oh, it's just going to be like me playing competitive. It's fine. I know how to rotate. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. But in reality, rotating is very, very different. It's not the same as your traditional competitive mode. You obviously can build in your traditional competitive mode to kind of defend as you rotate around. Here, you need to be a lot more mindful about the natural cover as you make your way into zone. So it's definitely a different game mode, to say the least, but for players like D-Roller, like you mentioned, so good at getting eliminations. And I gotta say, he's definitely, in my opinion, one of the best when it comes to aim on the NA East region. So impressive start here from them, and they're going to keep that ball rolling. But no, in the elimination feed, Chap taking himself out. What is going on?
Wow, I wonder how that happened. Honestly, that popping up like that in elimination feed, usually you see like a falling symbol or something like that if they go down to fall damage, but I'm not sure how he could have eliminated himself just like that. So hopefully D-Gen is still alive. Maybe gets a reboot going on, because they are contested or uncontested over at Rocky Reels. So if that is still the case, then they might have a little bit of room to work with, maybe to get that res. But maybe Chap was like the last standing member of their duo, and he kind of went down in some way, shape, or form. But interesting development. No, because there's an actual symbol for Storm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how that could happen with the little crosshair symbol up there. That's interesting. But nonetheless, Ocus and Nut, who have doing very, very well, coming into today, they were actually at the top of the leaderboard with a 61-point gap.
That's a lead, to say the least.
A little bit.
But will they be able to maintain it? That's the question, because so far, it's not going in their favor, right?
For Ocus and Nut?
Yeah. What's their lead right now? Do they still have the lead?
I don't know what their lead is right now, because I don't believe that we got to see the leaderboard after that last game. But I do know that, coming into today, they had a 61-point lead.
Oh, man. Like, that is substantial. Obviously, we've seen a pretty interesting lead there when it came to the MENA region, but honestly, for NA, these players are so close in talent, it's hard to just run away with it like that. So for Ocus and Nut to be that consistent going into the day, this might be their competition to walk away with. But it looks like, surprisingly enough, Larson somehow got back into the game. Fortunate for him, but unfortunate for TK, because it looks like it was at the expense of TK that he got back in. But now, though, Larson trying to exchange with Ocus, and that's just not going to work, man. Listen, anytime you're trying to 1v1 a tank, it's just not going to go in your favor, and we saw it there. But Ocus, Nut, going to hold on to the tank. Still very, very healthy there. Does have a gas can as well, so going to be able to keep that tank alive here for the moment. But Rhythm, Assassin there in the distance. Lots of players just staying up, staying alive. Jaith, though, I got to talk about it. Watched him play in a collegiate event recently. Exceptional performance, came top 3. Now he's here trying his hand at zero build, and I'm curious to see how well he does.
Yeah, I remember Jaith from when I was playing. I believe that we were actually contesting each other at one point. So that was.
Oh man, some bad blood maybe?
Listen, I'm past all that now. Maybe I was a little mad in the moment or something like that, but bygones be bygones, all that. But he was always very, very consistent in the scrims. Like whenever he would make it off spawn, he would do very, very well after, eliminating my team, which let's not highlight that at all. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I won off spawn every time. I'm just saying hypothetically, if he were to eliminate us and get off spawn, he would probably do pretty consistent.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, listen, consistency is rewarded in every game mode, right? That's obviously why Nut and Co are doing so well. But for players like Rotten Twinkies here and Jack is Godly, they're looking to change the pace here a bit. But no, as I switch over, we were just talking about Nut and Ocus, and sure enough, the rain continues here as they wipe Cease's team, but not without the expense of Ocus going down. So it's going to be interesting to see if Nut can get Ocus back into this game. But with all that stuff on the ground there and a tank, I think this game could still go in their favor.
Oh yeah, I mean, already 5 eliminations, right? Like 15 points already up on the board for them. Even if Nut were to go down right now, like he would still have a pretty good amount of points. So anything that you can go ahead and gather as a solo will be very beneficial for them. But as you mentioned, the tank there, pretty safe in the driver's seat. He's got Shockwave, he's got Rift to goes. I mean, he can definitely put up a good performance here as a solo. Just unfortunate situation for Heed and Cease there, and it's very interesting. We talk about how we haven't seen many shotguns in this notebook because you usually don't close that gap, but Nut actually had a shotgun in this situation, so it's just very, very unlucky for Cease to kind of find himself in a close combat situation where he has to go up against that shotgun.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I mean, look, it's not as lethal as going up against that legendary Anvil launcher if you're a tank, though. So it's nice to see that NA East taking advantage of it. They understand the value in having that in their inventory, and they're going to use it. So hopefully we'll see a very different in-game than what we've proceeded to see in EU. A lot less vehicles, but looking at the elimination feed, it looks like your boy Chap somehow, some way has gotten back into the game.
Listen, I don't know what was going on up there in the elimination feed. Me and you were trying to figure it out, couldn't figure it out, but he's alive at some point in time. You know, something weird happened. But that is very, very good to see. An action elimination on AV, who is an ex-teammate of his. So that's a little funny there. But hopefully Chap and DJen are both alive. As I say that, D-Roller takes up Chap. So I believe that is Panda's fault for casting him. I wasn't mentioning him at all. Wasn't me.
Oh, man. And look, as you say it, see, you talked about Chap, and Chap goes down. It's the caster curse, folks. It happens. Listen, when we talk about players, occasionally it lines up with them getting eliminated. But I don't see Rhythm here getting eliminated because the pressure from this tank just relentlessly going in as Assassin, also providing some cover fire there with the tank itself. So, man, this is going to be a tough duo to go up against, especially after Jaith has now lost their tank. So Jaith is not only down, but the tank is out. So Kurt, by himself, trying to stay alive here, trying to just sneak through this little fossil structure here and stay alive. But Rhythm says, no, I'm not going to let it happen. You cannot escape me. I will find you.
Actually opts the shockwave away. Very smart by Kurt. Rhythm's still going to try to fire in some shots there as he is retreating, but handing over to Mac would actually do it. That's been doing very, very well. Alongside Threats takes out D-Roller. They already have 3 eliminations, and Threats actually holding this mythic burst rifle, so that is very, very good. You can see how much damage this thing can put out. Great shots from Threat there, actually right under the truck, even alongside that cow catcher being there. You mentioned it before, they got to be careful when you are maneuvering around these structures. Even though you are behind cover, it's very, very easy to find angles, and Threats is actually going to be putting down so much damage that Jamper and Dukes are going to have to use their Rift to go, but they are not safe in the air at all. And alongside Threats, I believe that was Curbs off in the distance, putting down some shots as well, and they are going to be finding the eliminations, unfortunately, there on Jamper and Dukes.
Yeah, great eliminations on their part. And they're going to be able to stay in it. But speaking of people that aren't going to be able to stay in it, it's Janmen being taken out by Kurt. So Kurt still in this. That shockwave play he made has kept him alive despite losing Jade there just moments ago. And a nice little cleanup on top of the elimination. It's always good, obviously, to get those elimination points, but it's also equally important to make sure that you are getting the refreshes that come with that elimination. And that's what we see there. And fortunately, it's going to result in a Rift to Go being there as well. A Rift to Go, man, listen, is actually kind of interesting to watch in this format because we haven't seen it leading up to this, but since it's unvaulting and the community voting for it back in the game, it's definitely going to play an impact in these zero build competitions.
Yeah, it is one of those like, hey, let's use this as a quick escape. But, you know, we just saw an instance where Jamper Dukes use it as a quick escape, but it's just not enough in those situations to actually get you out of those situations because you are left in such a vulnerable state as Macwood and Threats are putting down some fire here onto Rhythm. And I believe Assassin, they tried to make a push because they were doing a lot of damage to Threats, but Macwood holding it down. He does get the knock on Assassin, and Rhythm lets to do it as a solo. Going to try to fend off against Macwood, who does have the tank advantage. And no, he is no longer interested in taking that duel, and he's going to use that Rift to go. He's just going to be floating around as we see Macwood and Threats both alive. Not necessarily the healthiest duo in the server, but they're going to use that tank, a little bit of cover, throw down some chug splashes, repair their tank, kind of do a full reset before they face off against the rest of the lobby here as the end game is approaching very, very quickly.
The end game is approaching as these players continue to fall at the hands of Threats because Narwhal goes down. Another knock here for Threats and Macwood. This is going to be a lethal duo as this competition continues. I can't imagine what these players are thinking. You just see Macwood, you see Threats in the elimination feed non-stop, and he does end up getting the full elimination onto Narwhal and Shades. So that's going to be 2 going down there. And no, with 3, Daddy goes down as well. Threats, listen, I don't know what you're on today, but keep it up, man.
That mythic burst rifle combined with the aim of Threats is going to be putting Threats and Macwood at a combined 8 eliminations already, so they can find even like more, right? Like they are already top 6, already have 8 eliminations. Like this is a 9 elimination. He picks up 1 somehow during just me talking about him. So He really is just laying down so much fire right now. This is amazing to watch.
It is. It's amazing to watch. And it's actually amazing to watch all these solo players as well continue to survive. Players like Kurt still in it for minutes, which is not something solo players can often say in competitive Fortnite. So it's exciting to see how these solo players continue to thrive in a lobby. But when Macwood and Threats have their eyes set on the prize of winning, it's going to be a GG's, especially for any other tanks in the lobby, as that is the last tank other than Macwood and Threats. So they're going to keep it going. They're going to keep the momentum moving forward. Players are dwindling down, and Macwood and Threats are on the hunt for some more eliminations as this game starts to finish out.
I love this right now. You can see Macwood's actually in the driver's seat of the tank, and usually when we have a duo alive, one of them's in the driver's seat and the other one's in the turret seat. But Threats is like, no, I'm putting in so much work right now with this burst rifle that I'm just going to stay out of the tank, and you can go ahead and use the missiles that come out of the tank, and I'm just going to put down shots with the burst rifle, and look how well it is working, right? Like, he has this mobile cover that he can use, and he can just kind of peek out whenever he sees fit, and it's working very, very well right now for Macwood and Threats. And there you see, Macwood gets a clean shot with that tank now, and now Carrie is left over there as a solo, and then one more player in the sky as a solo as well. No, Carrie actually does work, takes out Kurt out of the sky. Now Carrie left to try to clutch it up, but no, Macwood and Threats end this game with 13 eliminations, Panda.
Woo. 13 eliminations to clean it all up. I said it. As soon as I saw Threats and Macwood just on the hunt there, I knew that game was going in their favor, and it honestly just an impressive way to end it out. Because listen, when Threats, you give him that mythic burst assault rifle with that nice new sight put on top of it, I mean, he literally is just not missing. But for you guys at home, we don't want you to miss any of the action, so make sure to stay tuned, because we're going to be right back.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था, मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ भी पिलानी, किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
We know you hate it when you have to wait to get back into the game, but the wait will end in seconds. In real life, some people don't have the option to restart. Millions of refugees and displaced people have their lives on hold, eager for a chance to move forward. There are 84 million people around the world who were forced to flee due to war, conflict, violence, persecution, and climate change. And we are here to serve them, working day and night to provide them with life-saving aid and support. And you can be part of it. You can help people forced to flee gain access to life-saving aid like shelter, food, water, medicine, and much more. Donate to UNHCR. Help refugees and displaced families rebuild their lives.
Arkham.
What the hell?
It's Arkham, for sure. Arkham.
You said Arkham.
Yes, sir. Got that. Who is that?
Tifu.
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. I'm guessing Tifu. We might have to unpixelate it though.
Maybe Mr. Savage?
That was a good guess.
Oh,
Zay. I said it. Is that Joji? No.
Dude, I don't even know.
Yeah, we have to unpixelate that one.
I have no idea.
Oh, King.
Oh, King.
I said it first.
Saf!
Saf.
Ah! Loser fruit.
Loser.
Ah! Let's go. Ewok.
Ewok. Oh, you're lucky.
Beat him. Yes, sir.
Epic Will?
Epic Will. He beat me.
Oh, Benji Fish's mom.
And Benji Fishy's mom.
And Fish.
And Fish.
Welcome back, everyone. I know it's jarring. No, Mr. Banks isn't here, but it's me, Kelly Link, instead to bring you the rest of Gamers Without Borders. And with that being said, we have to talk about the game that we just watched, the first game from North America. And of course, it's still Vivid and Panda. They're going to be breaking down the game with me right now. And the only thing we need to break down is the threat of that game, and that was Threats. My gosh, Vivid, he was popping off.
Yeah, very cool little strategy that they implemented. I mentioned it while we were watching over the game. Macwood actually being in the tank and then Threats just off to the side using that tank as cover. And we can see after that performance right there, Threats and Macwood are going to be finding themselves in that 4th position with a total of 304 points. But Nud and Oak is still at the top there with 341 points. Panda, we were talking a little bit about how they came into this day at the top.
Yeah, and obviously that lead is going to keep them at the top for now, but that lead is starting to dwindle here quite a bit. You see that gap closing in here, especially with a duo as consistent as Knight and Rogue Shock are. So it's going to be interesting to see how this leaderboard continues to change, but I hear it. It's almost time for us to get into the next game. And Kelly, this is it for us getting to hang out with you. So we get to cast over the game, but Kelly, we'll miss you.
Fun, guys.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I am sorry that our visit was short-lived, but we always do appreciate a great Kelly Link host. If you guys want to see more action of her, she is usually on that NA West version of the FNCS where there are builds. But Panda, we're here celebrating a tournament with no builds. And honestly, listen, NA has not disappointed at all today. I loved that last game. Macwood and Threats really putting themselves up top of that leaderboard, 4th place position. I just want to remind everybody that top 5 actually at the end of these games will secure these players an invitation to a land that is happening later in the year in Saudi Arabia, where there will be a giant prize pool to fight for there. But Panda, we are actually competing today for charity money. So a great cause for all these players to kind of show up and show out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And these players have showed up and they are showing out, especially for Threats and Macwood. Clearly, Chonker Speedway is the home of champions. We saw Booga, Miro take the FNCS finals from there, and now Threats and Macwood are looking to call it home. But speaking of home, it's our champs right now, Nut and Okus, still at the top of the leaderboard, and this makes perfect sense why. They're over at Command Cavern, one of the, if not the, best POIs on the map right now, but they are not alone. It looks like Jath and Co are there as well. So it's going to be a tough start here for Nut and Okus. They need to make sure not only are they looting up, but they're staying alive against a team like this.
Yeah, you really do got to try to stay alive against these caliber of players. You can't just be lackluster, let your guard down at any point in time, especially, you know, they are up there on that blimp, right? And Kurt and Jath are kind of just down here. There are a lot of areas in this cavern where they're kind of like angles from up top because of the holes that are in the cavern itself. So you do got to be careful if there are players landing above you. But panning on over to Tilted Towers, this is actually one of the POIs where we've seen a lot of action, right? There is just so much loot at this POI, and then not to mention the blimp, which you can see Punisher and Zemi actually opt in to land up top. And this could turn into a very, very interesting play from Punisher here. I would love to see him like jump off on the blimp when he has an opportunity to find an elimination and then use the jetpack to kind of float in the air to make sure that he doesn't take fall damage. I think that would be super awesome.
I completely agree. And I think that's a play that we haven't seen really made too much. The jetpacks have been, I think, underutilized in the competition that we've been able to watch over on Europe. So to see it get used here on NA East, it's special. And hopefully we'll see a play coming from that. But Zemi says, you know what? I can't rely on Punisher just raining in chaos with the sea cannon. No, I got to be up top, ready to go. And hey, Pun, come back to me.
Wow. Zemi and Pun really got it down, huh? Like, they know all the little tricks. He's like, listen, I'm just going to go over here to this cannon. I know the angle that I need to aim myself at to kind of get back up to you. And Zemi, being the great teammate that he is actually watching the angles, making sure that Rhythm and Assassin can't get any shots while Punisher was flying through the air. So keeping them both safe, keeping that control over the Tilted Towers secured by them and Assassin and Rhythm. You know, they're going to be okay with this, right? Like, they have all this down here to loot. They can kind of just run about. But Punisher's like, hey, listen, we're still up here. Just as a little bit of a reminder, you know, don't be too lackluster.
Yeah, you definitely still need to be on your toes. You cannot waver here in these moments, especially considering it is zero build. You're not going to be able to build cover here from high ground, and Pun is more or less banking on that, right? That's why you see him up there, still raining down pressure from above, controlling the angles there and staying alive. But speaking of teams that are struggling a little bit more to stay alive, it's actually Jamper going down here to Soul. So Soul going to be able to hold on. Duke looking to get involved here as well and just immediately runs to the team. It looks like Cutie Lando, though, going to jump in the truck and try to steal it away. He does get one knock here, so now it is a 1v1. The shot's raining in. Cutie weak, but no, it doesn't matter. Gets the final shot onto Dukes, and Dukes is back in the lobby.
No way. I thought the Dukes had actually had that. It's one of those moments there, right, where you see Jamper go down. It's like, oh no, Dukes is in a 1v2 situation, but he rises to the occasion, just plows straight forward actually at the dough and finds a quick elimination. But with the quick little truck plays popping in and out of that passenger seat, taking some shots, does actually pick up the elimination on Dukes there with only 21 HP left. And if you guys are paying close attention to that elimination feed in the top left, as we watch Cease kind of track down Slacks here, Zemi, who is the duo of Punisher, actually eliminated Rhythm and Assassin after Punisher went down. So Punisher will have to get rebooted, but Zemi and Punisher, 2 eliminations to boot out of Tilted Towers.
Yeah, listen, the king of Tilted Towers, they take it. But speaking of people we need to appreciate, it's Cease. Cease has been not only a veteran in the space, but has been probably one of the few players that continually adapts to whatever is going on, right? So to see him in zero build and see him succeed in zero build is just on brand here for Cease. So him and Vert going to be playing together, going and now chasing Slacks down. They did get Slacks' teammate out of here, but they said, you know what? We're not going to settle for one elimination. We need the second one.
Yeah, and I love that point that you brought up. Really, like any of the players who have been around in Fortnite competition for some years now, they're all just so great at adapting because we have seen so many different metas. We've gone through 3 different chapters, 3 different maps, right? A bunch of different weapons, utility items, some vehicles being implemented, like everything, right? Like a lot of these players have been through it all, and Cease is just one of those that you can really highlight, especially, you know, his performance at World Cup, which, you know, it has been a while since that was an actual competition, but probably one of the most prestigious events to actually happen so far. So that's why you always hear people reference it when we like to talk about how well these players do in these sort of events.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to talk about and highlight all the accolades across the board. But speaking of accolades, man, we've been talking about Inpen and D-Roller, and we've also been talking about the accolades that come with having a tank, right? The tank is just the dominant force in any lobby. It won threats in Macwood, that game that we just watched moments ago. And for them, they're opting to change the pace a little bit. It looks like the tank is no more. Now it's all about the semi-truck, which does have quite a bit of value as far as end games go. So I definitely expect to see another Macwood Threats high elimination in game, but will they be able to repeat the win, or will they fall short because maybe they just don't have that tank?
You know, they definitely do need another solid performance, as we see Punisher and Zemi here not happy with anybody rolling up onto the towers. As we mentioned, they did take out the contesting duo, so now they're looking to further defend it as they go for a little bit of a push. As we pan over here to Jaith and Kurt taking some shots at the players, they're going to be using that rift to go. Kurt putting down some very good shots. QT Lando in the sky with only about 20 HP left. Does fall right out of the sky, but no, it's not Jaith or Kurt who actually get it. I think Okus ended up taking out, and yeah, as you can see there, Okus and Nut coming into the picture there, just driving by in the tank. Going to be hitting probably like one bullet on QT Lando and going to be picking up that quick elimination steal. So Jaith and Kurt might not be too happy about that, but can't really do anything up against that tank that Okus and Nut has, so they're just going to have to settle for the loot that is going to be dropped.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it was actually kind of cool to see the way that Jaith and Kurt were able to utilize the mantling there. Most players, when you first look at a building like that, you're going to be like, nah, there's no way I can get up to the roof. I'm just going to have to break it down, right? But no, they found a way to mantle on the frame and then mantle onto the roof. So it's going to be pretty impressive for them. But what's pretty impressive here is Nut and Okus not only being able to steal that elimination, but to understand that they are not ready to fully engage with Jaith and Co. They want to just take the elim and immediately move away. They know the value of having that tank in the later parts of the game is way higher than the potential, not the guarantee, but the potential of a few more eliminations.
Yeah, that's a great point, Panda. You know, we've talked about it as me and Pando have casted over some EU games. You know, you've really got to control your aggression, and even though not Nokus, as you mentioned, we're in a very advantageous position in that tank, there's just no reason, right? Like, let's just go and let's get to the end game rather than going for this mid-game fight, which could result in a negative, impactful experience. As we tune back into Punisher and Zemi, they still do have those 2 eliminations, so their push on Rotten Twinkies and Jack didn't necessarily work out probably as they hoped, but Jack and Twinkies also are probably happy with the result of that push, right? They are still in the game, and you can see there they actually have a tank. No, what am I talking about? Is Zemi actually out of the game? But has he been eliminated? I think he's been eliminated. Oh, wow. So Rotten Twinkies actually took out Zemi. I am just out of it right there. So Punisher not happy at all with how that push went.
Well, it's crazy to think about, right? Obviously, Pun went down there moments ago. Zemi was able to pick up the eliminations, but now it's a reverse situation. But Pun does not look to be in a position to be able to get these eliminations back, so he's going to have to play the storm a little bit and just try to get Zemi back in the game. Obviously, the value is there, having your duo alive and making sure that you have both players ready to go and rearing for a great competition. So the last thing you want to do is leave your teammate behind, but you have to be careful, right? Even if you res in Storm, you are not impenetrable. Players from all around that region of the map will definitely be looking in as soon as they hear that reboot van.
And this has been an interesting strategy from Chapman Degen. They always like to find themselves a truck, right? But then when they have that truck, they just kind of like park it in the middle of nowhere and just kind of like sit there, right? And there's like no real cover that's around them. Usually we see people hide their vehicles like behind cover, but like no, they like to just drive and park wherever, and they just like to read their surroundings and then kind of react based on that. So I mean, it's worked out so far, right? We when we look at the leaderboards, they have been top 8, but they do need to do a little bit better to get to that top 5. Again, it does secure you an invitation to that LAN, which they obviously are going to hope for. As we look at the map here, we do see some players down at Chonker Speedway, potentially preparing for a little bit of a heal off. And looking at Tilted Towers, Lando actually gets rebooted, as Punisher's also over in Tilted Towers. You know, you were talking about how he is most likely going to be looking for a reboot onto Zemi, but with Lando getting rebooted, he's going to have to wait for that cooldown.
Yeah, it's actually impressive there for Sol and Lando. They're both back in the game, but they're, again, Punisher being denied something yet again, and it now being denied the reboot there onto Zemi. It's going to be a tough call for him as well, as the zone continues to close in, and we are in zone 3, meaning it's starting to really take away here. They cannot, and in Pun, cannot afford to just lie still in the storm. They have to make a play. And that play is probably going to be to get out of Storm and potentially try to find another reboot van. But in the zero build meta, it's very, very tough to reboot when you're not covered by something. And the remainder of the map, there's not too much coverage left where their reboot vans are.
And here we see the showcase of D-Roller and NPen's aim potential as Rogue Shark finds himself in a situation where he has to use that rift to go to escape the pressure, but no, not enough. D-Roller and NPen are going to be picking up in eliminations on a Rogue Shark and Knight, and they are going to be totaling 4 eliminations already. And interesting to see that D-Roller is actually carrying around a shotgun, you know, from trioing and teaming with him. He does like those close encounter situations, but it's very, very hard to force those in this game mode, so it'll be interesting to see how he kind of plays around that weapon.
Yeah, they definitely need to be careful in the way that they play this, but looking at Shades here, the heavy sniper in hand, listen, this is one of those weapons that in EU is way underutilized. The damage that thing puts out onto vehicles is massive. So I'm excited to see that in Shades' hands, but will he be able to take advantage of it? That's the real question, especially with players like Carry and Fatch here, 2 separate vehicles, one of them being a tank. It's going to be tough to stop him. Carry automatically getting that elimination or that knock there. Actually, it's Fatch getting the knock onto NPen. And now NPen's teammate just trying to stay alive. D-Roller holding on. He does throw down the cow catchers and has to take those floppers if he's not careful. Carry, though, will take the shot, and a huge shot at that. D-Roller, unfortunately, probably not going to be able to make it in. Is going to need to try to get the elimination to get the siphon, but no, denied. Has to go back to the lobby as Carry continues on here in this game and in this tank.
Yeah, unfortunate for D-Roller right there. NPen going down, right? You got to be very, very careful about how you play the situation. You find themselves in the open, and then Carry and Fat kind of just do the rest there. He doesn't really have anywhere to run, no cover to go to. So you got to always be careful, watch your angles, be very well aware of your surroundings, because at any moment, if you are out in the open, you can't just build a wall, Panda. This isn't regular Fortnite. No builds, no nothing. And if you don't have any mobility, like shockwaves to kind of get you out of that situation, or any of those cow catchers to kind of throw down some impromptu cover, then you just have nowhere to go. As we see Carry and Fatch going to be experiencing what an Anvil rocket launcher can do to your vehicle.
Yeah, definitely an experience, man. Look, that's one of those things we talked about it before. We want to see more of. We want to see more of these anti-vehicle weapons utilized, and the Anvil launcher is just one of them. But for Jade and Kurt, they're up on the high ground. It looks like they both equally have an anti-vehicle defense system, right? Jade's got the Anvil launcher, and I believe Kurt's got the heavy sniper, but it's about using it collectively, playing it as a duo and getting those vehicles out of the lobby, especially with a high ground spot like that, is definitely going to be the game plan for them. But the game plan for Macwood and Threats, stay alive, get some more eliminations, and potentially walk away with another win.
And did you see Macwood's inventory right there? One, very unconventional, and the fact that he has the MK7 over the burst. We've seen a lot of people take the burst, but then his other 4 inventory slots, he had 2 fuel cans, 1 repair torch, and then just 6 chug splashes. So he is all about keeping the possibilities of his vehicle alive, and that's very, very interesting, right? Because I feel like whilst they have a very reliant strategy, as we saw in the last game, on the survivability of their vehicle, right? Whenever they kind of form themselves an area to kind of that they've secured, they aren't necessarily sitting in the vehicle, right? They're kind of, you know, they're out of the vehicle, they're using their weapons to defend it, kind of push anybody out of that area. So typically they don't even really need to, you know, repair or give the vehicle any fuel, because they're usually not even really in it. As we can see, Threats wishing that he was in a vehicle right now, as he finds himself in an interesting situation on the edge of zone, tries to just hide behind the tree, but no, there's way too many things in the game that could just remove that tree almost instantly.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And I think with obviously Okus and not being not only at the top of the leaderboard, but looking at a really good possibility of a victory royale here, they're going to continue on. They're going to continue reigning the terror that is the tank and the burst assault rifle. You saw it from them, and you see it here from Kurt as well. These players, they're finding themselves in good positions. They're finding the proper loadouts, the proper vehicles to have, and then they are just raining down terror for any player that doesn't have those things. And that's what's happening here. You see players like AV stuck on the edge of zone, struggling to rotate because you have players like Nut and Okus that are going to continue to hold you out.
And look at this high ground that Cease and Fur actually have. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the next zone, so he might have to make a rotation, but it's very, very good to be in those type of situations. As you can see, Kurt knows that that duo is up there, and he's just kind of hide away, make his presence unknown as Cease kind of lays down some shots, and they are actually going to have to rotate further into the zone. As we see Chap here actually hiding as a solo, is going to take out Okus, nonetheless, who was feeling pretty comfortable in the tank, but no, Sizlucky and Shades, they find themselves with a tank of their own, and they actually are going to go ahead and destroy Nut and Okus's tank. Now Nut going to be making a desperate play here with his shockwave. He's going to find himself onto Chap with that shotgun, going to take him out very, very quickly, as now Shades and Sizlucky, Chronicles of the Tank Part 2, going to be taking out the previous driver of that tank, and now they're kind of left in this lobby with a lot more firepower than anybody else has.
Yeah, and it looks like this lobby is dwindling down fast. You see players like Dunks and Chen here, they're just trying to stay alive, try to stay involved despite not having too much to work with. They do hear the rift though, so they potentially might run for that. But when you got players like Sizlucky and Shades in a tank shooting at every player that they see, they actually probably have the highest position here on the map, and probably the only position with the angle of every remaining player here. And as I say that, you see Nox coming through. Carry just trying to use the rift to stay in the sky and avoid the pressure that's coming from Shades and Sizlucky. Now, another rift is popped again. Like we talked about in the beginning of this game, just the true impact of having the rift to go in the game, keeping you alive for just a few moments longer. This is going to be huge, the way this is continuing to play out. But Carry lost Fadge, now playing as a solo player, looking to stay alive, but now the eyes are locked in. Carry on the receiving end of the pressure of the tank. Will he be able to hold on? Will he be able to exchange? But no, Carry goes down. Sizlucky and Shades. The tank is just too strong, Vivid.
Yeah, taking the full brute force of the tank there, right? He was just kind of staying in his ground, taking the shots, doing as much time as he could. He's like, listen, rest of the lobby, where are you guys at? You know, help me out. This tank is in the middle of the zone. Where are you guys at? But no, a lot of people up in the sky, actually, because of that rift to go. And as you can see over here, Kurt actually off to the side, trying to stay alive as a solo. And here all these players come down. Sizlucky gonna look up here and realize these are where all the enemies are actually at. They're flying down with their gliders. As we can see, Shent here, he's gonna be putting himself in a very close position to the tank, and know that's not gonna work out all too well as the rift to go actually takes Sizlucky and the tank up into the sky.
And that might be able to take Sizlucky out, and it does. Sizlucky goes down. What a play here. Honestly, listen, that is kind of a kidnapping there of Sizlucky and co, right? That was the only play that you really could do to see them not come out on top, but now it looks like Kurt could come out on top, does get the knock there onto Chen, and here it is. We talked about it before. It's SJ. Wait.
What?
You saw the same inventory as me, right?
Chug splashes, floppers, what?
I definitely believe that they had everything to remain alive, and unfortunately, they just didn't use it. I'm not sure what the play there was, but regardless, congratulations to the team that walked away, the Victory Royale holders. But man, Vivid, what a game.
Yeah, I believe that was Kurt there at the end. And listen, Panda, a very, question marks at the end there. That player did have some heals to continue that heal off. But nonetheless, we are through those first 4 games, and our time is up, Panda. So we hope you guys do enjoy these last 2 games. And shout out to these NA boys for putting on a competition, as we are going to go to our second break of the day.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है कि कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ, तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ पिलानी, किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते, क्या पता क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना, कि हमारा अब लोकल जी में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं, जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिलाए। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
We know you hate it when you have to wait to get back into the game, but the wait will end in seconds. In real life, some people don't have the option to restart. Millions of refugees and displaced people have their lives on hold, eager for a chance to move forward. There are 84 million people around the world who were forced to flee due to war, conflict, violence, persecution, and climate change. And we are here to serve them, working day and night to provide them with life-saving aid and support. And you can be part of it. You can help people forced to flee gain access to life-saving aid like shelter, food, water, medicine, and much more. Donate to UNHCR. Help refugees and displaced families rebuild their lives.
Wolfies.
Dude,
What happened, Dubs?
I just forgot his name, bro. I knew who it was.
You're so bad.
I forgot his name.
Benji
Fishy.
Is that it, man?
I got that.
Yeah, you got that, bro. No.
I got that 100%.
You're so bad.
Aqua.
I said it first.
I definitely got that one.
You're so bad.
I'm literally saying it before you.
How do you get that one? What do you say?
You every time.
I'm saying it before you. I've said it before you every time. It's a delay then.
You're just in Virginia, so you're on 0 ping. I'm saying it before you. Mega!
I said it first.
Dude. It's just the 0 ping, bro.
Booga. I said it first.
Chica.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude. What's up, guys? We just played Pixelated Pros. I actually lost because Mega's in 0 ping right now, so there was some delay, but all good. We go next. GG's.
No, I think Dubs is just really slow. His brain doesn't process stuff as fast as me. So, yeah, I won for a reason.
Hello and welcome to Gamers Without Borders, and welcome to day 2 of the Fortnite competition.
And coming into day 2, I'm super excited to see how it plays out.
Throwing down the shots from Zimori are there. He's almost doing it. They may be able to clutch up and.
Pickaxe! Oh my goodness! He whips out the pickaxe in the final moment. No respect, no regard whatsoever.
Welcome back, everyone, once again to Gamers Without Borders. I'm your host, Kelly Link, and of course, we just wrapped up our European competition. Earlier on in the day, we had Middle East and North Africa, but now we're wrapping everything off with a quick 2-game series for North America. And if you're saying, Kelly, that is not enough Fortnite in my weekend, well, I have a treat for you. Tomorrow, we're coming back with 4 games per region to finish out Gamers Without Borders. But of course, I am not doing it by myself. No, I have to have 2 of the biggest name that Fortnite has to offer, and they couldn't make it. So instead, we had MDF and Shy. I'm just kidding, guys. Shayo, how you doing, man?
I am doing good. Medium names, the medium offering names, Monster. You think that's a little bit more down the line?
Yeah, you know, we're okay. It's not like we've been doing this since the beginning, right?
Guys, we have a lot to talk about before we can get into the game, and not that much time. So just pretty much the meta, the story of you, if you will, is cars and more cars, MDF.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the game's been kicking off. Yesterday, we got a little bit of variety, though, of course, due to the zone. So as these start to continue to unfold these games here, hopefully we continue to see more, interesting plays come down, because those highlights, that's what we're here for.
Oh, and I think for my highlight of the day so far was that we saw Sizlucky in a tank grabbing Elam after Elam in that last game for Europe. But then someone throws down a rift and the tank and Sizlucky actually get tossed up into the air, and that's what gets them eliminated. So besides the launcher, maybe another opportunity for some countering with the vehicles. But we're going to find out if that's what's going to happen in North America right now, everyone, because game number 1 is ready to go.
Let's jump right in game number 1. We're rocking and seeing exactly how NA likes to toss, turn, and hang. And for today so far, Monster, I mean, it's just been awesome to see exactly what these players are doing. There's more tanks on the way, more explosions. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know what to expect when it comes down to Fortnite, right? As the weeks start to develop, you know, the strategies, the style of play, they all come to light essentially. And you know, the teams, they don't typically deviate too far from just that. I mean, we've seen throughout the gameplay today, it's been what you expect inside of Fortnite. But hopping on to this bus, we're picking up pretty much where we left off yesterday, Shayo. It's the same players hopping back on this bus here, ready to take action.
Let's see exactly where they drop down. I mean, this bus I haven't really seen before. It's looking kind of interesting. All good for the moment, but more action all around. I'm really curious to see if Okus and Nut can continue the reign that they had in the previous games and yesterday, Monster. I mean, today is the NA day, and they are showing off in this tournament how far ahead they are compared to everyone else.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? It was that breakaway lead, just clearly showing that they're ahead of the pack in some capacity, a cut above the rest, no doubt about it. Other players that were giving them contention, though, of course, you see Pilkey and SJ there, their strategy being staying inside the zone, going for their heal-offs and whatnot. We'll see if today is going to be enough to continue to hold them out to make a good finals performance for tomorrow. But on over to Gandhi and Dictating, who are kicking off the fight here. Does seem like they have a lot of controversy here at the Greasy Grove today.
Lots of action, lots of damage for Janman and Logic. These guys were the ones to start off our entire competition on day one with a crazy win. Lots of elims, finally countering the tanks, but now they're just kind of chilling. Burgers, tacos, whatever it is at Greasy Grove. For me, I'm more of a pizza guy, Monster. If you could just, you know, have any takeout right now, what are you thinking?
Man, you know, I think my wife hates this, but my typical go-to is definitely Chinese food. You know what I mean? I'm so basic, like I'm gonna go the same stuff all the time. Or any place that has like sandwiches. I'm a sandwich kind of guy, so steak sandwich.
Okay.
Really, honestly, if I can find a good one of those, that's my avenue. You know, that's where I'm leaning. What's on the Shayo menu when it comes down to the go-to picks for the
go-to picks? Think about this, right? You ever just had like a main course dinner for breakfast? And then in the same day, breakfast for dinner. You gotta try it, man. Like just try it one day, whatever ones you want to combine, just mix and match your day's foods. It goes crazy. So like,
I mean, I kind of take it a step. I take it a step further, though. You know, I go the literal fried chicken, waffle, and eggs.
Okay.
You know, I guess a combination of dinner and breakfast.
Yeah.
All at the same time in the morning there. But I'm with you. I mean, time is nothing but an illusion, right?
Yeah, they made it up, and then they made us follow time zones we have to translate as well. That also gets a lot of fun all the time, but is what it is. C4 in this tournament. You remember the days when we had C4 in this game, Monster? Don't you love C4?
C4 is a very interesting one, man, because it was all good until it wasn't. You know, same thing with like clingers. Like clingers are like, oh, cool, this interesting sticky explosive. Look at these fun clips. And then they were like, hey, how about we just get on top of someone and see what happens if we shoot them in the box? And then the game changed. You know what I mean? Like that's the name of it. Same thing with Fortnite and C4, to say the least. I mean, it was pretty quick how people figured out, yeah, let's just put 4 in one spot, and when everything goes boom, yeah.
Yeah, then they blow up the servers too. That's exactly what ended up happening. They got tough, but yeah, over here, not too much change of strategies for many players. I mean, we saw like on day 2, kind of the jetpacks take over. That's something that you wanted personally to get into the business. I think the only ways jetpacks can possibly be used is when you're flying, maybe there's like a mini shield bubble around you, so you're not as weak, you know, you can still get kind of freestyling with it.
Here's the thing with the jetpacks, the really good players that have been kind of using it and utilizing it to battle with, it's not just about flying up in the air. It's more so about the momentum you can pick up from sprinting, and then you can carry that momentum if you just jump and tap your jetpack. So you actually can extend your sprints by a crazy amount because the jetpack is also affected by the momentum. And that's the kind of the cool thing with jetpacks, essentially, is like you have this form of mobility, especially in PvP and fighting. Like if you're out in the open, you can literally use the jetpack almost as if it was a booster to go and travel long distance, which is again a different, more unique way to use it. And that's all because of this whole sprinting that's been brought to the game.
Oh, they got the text in them, man. Honestly, at this point, I just want these Fortnite characters to just get abilities and, like, you know, make it skin specific. Get marketing on it, right? Get Naruto as shadow clones. Get Kratos rage mode. We could do so much.
Well, I mean, we've seen a fair amount of, let's just say, characters with abilities in the game as they start to unfold. So we know it's possible. What happens if you do put them all in the same world and you do equip them with the let's just call it the Fortnite artillery, the weapons.
Fortnite artillery, there we go. The wording's nice, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it could be something. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, every single character having a different type of buff would be so nuts. And, you know, time, we made it up. This game's going to be ever long lasting throughout time. You never know what happens seasons down the line. But regardless, one thing that these players need to do is also live. Your thoughts on this nice dynamic that I'm seeing in this tournament, specifically the sharing of tanks by a lot of players. I feel like Rotten Twinkies, the person who's on our screen right there, had so much of that going on. He's getting bullied right now, but that one mechanic reminds me of those old Chapter 1 days where anything kind of went. Sometimes you had to walk by someone and not shoot them as well. It was kind of homey, but also kind of, you know, scary all around.
Yeah, back in the day, you know, before the Fortnite police showed up, it was very interesting. No, seriously, right? You had these players, like literally thinking with their brains, just like, hey, why should we battle right now? This is really not beneficial for both of us. And that's kind of what also developed the box fight meta, right? People figured out, dude, I'm wasting a lot of material if I go up, but if I just sit here and let you come to me, well, it should be okay. So I'm just gonna, you know, best you in a gunfight. And that was the evolution of what became peace control and all that madness.
Yeah, oh, definitely. That's just something players will continue to evolve. I'm wondering what the next meta is right now for this tournament. I think the highest skill ceiling tech is shockwave nades and how you're kind of using them. We just saw Logic basically go to town on Jack right there. This guy had no chance. He was in the ravine down below. Then he got taken out. This is the first time we're watching Punisher actually have some success bullying tanks this super early in the game. Usually they just get out of the entire POI or they stop the tank completely, never really get the knock. But I feel like for Punisher, every loss is like it's like fuel to the fire of the next win. He just learns from every single situation.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, if there's anything to learn from here is that you can definitely stop these tanks. You can stop these vehicles dead in their tracks. Right now, though, pressure comes in, that repair tool's enough to keep them up, and he can tell that there's no way he got the pickup here. This tank is being held up. Now that it's on fire, it's pretty easy. Slips in, nice knock there. Let's go Zemi with the great angles. There's no way Yoda's gonna survive this one. He's pretty much stopped dead in his tracks right now. He's trying to escape, but it's not gonna last very long. Nicely done there. Punisher does seem to be the one to secure the 2 elims, so nice for him.
Nice shots. I think the biggest thing here right now is they actually save the tank, have their repair torches, and I think 2 of their own as well. So big rewards for the Tilted team that drops. And we go straight to the middle of the map. Lots of options: water, mountains, grass. What's the preferred layer for you, man? For me, I like the mountains.
Yeah, mountains are pretty interesting. I mean, they definitely create a cool dynamic, but I'm a fan of scenery and positioning that just kind of revolves around letting it be fair play, right? Like seeing a good old-fashioned, nostalgic looking, hey, we're not too high up, we can see one another, and we got to think about this next move, right? Because everyone's got to think on their toes, not necessarily having a positional advantage, giving you so much of an advantage that you could just win the game. As we've seen, right? Sometimes, you know, that mountain pulls your way, and you just know, dude, if we somehow lose this, it's on us, right? Like, we threw.
The pullback zones, I think there's someone did the math, a 2% chance of them happening like back to back or something. And sometimes you do see that happen, and it throws everyone's games right into the blender. And right now, Punisher and Zemi, they're not stopping either. Really just blending up the entire lobby. Chentek's down, had another big pick from Zemi on the other side against Punish, I believe, or no, it was dunks all the way up in the sky. And this is just like, this is complete ownage for this duo.
Yeah, this is looking really good. This is the most aggressive Punisher and Zemi we've seen, though, and at least with the success. Remember, when we last tuned in, they did have 2 teams landing on them, and they now have 4 eliminations. So it seems like Tilted, they've been very comfortable today cleaning up house here, making sure to keep things nice and tidy for themselves. And those are big points. We already spoke pretty in depth about the format yesterday and how eliminations can shape out your tournament standing and performance. And so far, so good. I think if anything, teams like Pilkey and SJ, who are playing zone deep and whatnot, this works that the lobbies are a little lighter populated because there's less points being funneled up the top, right? And which means their placement that they can gather is a bit more valuable, if you will.
Absolutely. Less for the higher class of eliminators to bring up, more for the people who like to sit at campfires and eat fish passively. You know what I mean? Like that's a nice way to just end up winning these games.
Yeah, for sure. Anything is definitely possible here. LG Slacks, though, down a teammate right now. Not looking too hot for the young veteran himself. On the other side, we have, of course, the loadout starting to come to life here. Some Rift to Goes and whatnot. But it's trucks. It's going to be vehicles that are going to, you know, be the king in this type of position. So if I had to guess, I mean, the game plan right now is play for center field. But as they start to position up, talk to me, Shayo. You know, I don't personally own a vehicle, as in the sense, like, I never purchased a vehicle myself.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even have a license because I'm from New York City, and that's just how it ended up. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Wait, you're just, like, sprinting down the streets? Did you have a sprint bar yourself, or, like, what's going on?
I got a nice skateboard
okay.
and a gas station really close to my home, so kind of
nice.
If and in the event I had to do something, probably doing that.
No, really. Now, for me, I recently purchased my first car, actually, last summer. Yeah, kind of nice.
Cool, man.
Used vehicle, you know, it's a little van type beat.
How did that feel?
It felt really good, man, because beforehand it was like, you know, using your parents' stuff. Because for me, I'm in the suburbs. Like, we gotta drive. You try to bike, like, you could bike, but you could also sweat then, and you don't want to be showing up like a water balloon to whatever, you know, place you're going to. So, yeah, I mean, it was just nice having the freedom, you know. It's a nice vibe. Maybe a lot of people watching might not be able to relate because, you know, younger audience overall with Fortnite, but it's a lot of fun being able to go places.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, listen, I'm proud of you. I'm continuing to stay in my box, you know. That's just.
Don't worry, man. We will get you a car. We will get you the license too.
I mean, the fun part about that. I purchased someone else a car before I ever bought my own car. So.
Okay. All I know now is that for in-game, you're not driving. I now have the knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll gladly take up the offer, though. So.
Okay.
Yeah. That risk is on you, you know?
Oh, man. I can't wait for Fortnite to add, like, aerial vehicles back as well. I feel like that's where the craziest driving, you know, haphazard things end up happening. There's not much you can do wrong in a car, but in planes and helicopters, that's where things get really scary.
We just need some hovercraft, you know, some all-terrain hovercraft. Return the, remember how in the past, in the Chapter 1 past, there was like there was locations with ramps that just led, I don't know why there were ramps, but there were ramps off of like Pleasant Park Mountain. There were some weird spots that had these huge ramps, and you would take the boards. Remember the hoverboards?
Hoverboards, shopping carts.
Like,
yeah,
bro. It's definitely kind of fire. I want to see the return now. I'm actually interested as to why shopping carts never made a return with the Chapter 1 return. I felt like that was almost like a Fortnite staple. You know what I mean?
I think they had a bad side of the table with them too, with the bugs that were involved with the carts. I feel like every other batch they got disabled for something. So
I don't recall.
Okay, wipe it out of the memory.
Don't recall. I only remember the good. I don't know.
Yeah, so hey, hopefully they bring it back someday. Maybe, you know, it's been a while, it's been a few chapters up the way they actually roll. I'm still on that entire mech type of, you know, transformative Gundam vibe. We'll see if that's ever possible. Right now we're on tank battle vibes. Cease and Vert bullying the lobby. Punisher comes in and says no.
And surprisingly, Zemi is able to just sit there out in the open, even with the explosions coming in, does not take any unnecessary damage. Enough to actually push the fight here, get into Cease's face on the elimination, and now comes the tags from the distance here. Finally gets a bit more than he asked for here, but it's all good. On the other side, it's Rogue, Shark, and Knight. This is where the shots are coming in from. That's where you saw the damage being picked up from Zemi. This tank has just got the angle on him, and they don't know where it's coming from. Ooh, right in the needle there through the trees.
It's really smart. It's like it's a shield up. I'm watching like a medieval joust here, or like a classic, you know, World War I era fight going on back and forth.
Ooh, but Nut rolled up on Nut and Okus. Oh yeah, you guys want to sit in the mountain and shoot? Nope. Hello. Just snuck right up on him.
This is gonna be tough. Okus popping out, making sure not to get beamed. Repair torch online. Double time. Both teams just taking a little bit of time to heal. I saw so many big shots taken on tanks. I saw one blow up, but all of them now back at full HP. These repair torches are insane.
Yeah, keep in mind, guys, the zone is starting to close. The player count is definitely cutting down. So if these vehicles begin to fall this early, I mean, if you end up having one, you're just going to become the target of focus. Unlike yesterday, I felt like there was a lot going on, right, as far as the vehicles went, so it didn't make sense to target. But here, with a little more space to work with, you can see that now these players are not afraid to take the battle to you. Okus now on the other side of the map as well. That's zone being pushed behind him. The bad spot to be in.
I want to harp on one of the previous points you brought up, Monster, with the whole Pilkey SJ situation. Not in Ocus, I feel like, are ahead of them by a sizable amount, but you're right. With just 19 duels in the lobby today, they're not going to have their crazy games to upkeep their scores. I think I just saw them in the zone healing off right below towards the south side. I'm not sure if, you know, they're going to have enough points in terms of Nutnocus to keep up and stay ahead of the pack with those guaranteed placements. The second place is coming in every game.
Look at that. So with Nut going down there, if Ocus gets taken out, that's exactly what's going to start to happen, right? We saw before, I mean, it looked like a 90-point gap or so, which is a substantial amount. But when you cut down the player opportunities for eliminations, that, again, it really skews the format towards players that can stay consistent and rack in those high placement points. So if there was a time for them to close the gap, it's definitely now. Carry and Thatcher putting that pressure onto Ocus like we just talked about. He's floating in the air, now shut down. It's Punisher who picks up another one. So Punisher getting more for his efforts here. A little bit of revenge, if you will, onto the team that pushed onto Knight and Shark, who were pressuring them and made them lose their vehicle. So comes full circle there for Punisher.
Full circle also in what we're talking about with the leaders falling. We saw Ocus fall, but all the way back in Tilted, yeah, this is what I wanted to look at here real quick. It was on your screen for a little bit. SJ and Pilkey getting targeted or just dropped down by Dictating and Gandhi, staying inside Bugle, actually. My bad, I got my POIs mixed up, but the heal game that's happening here, obviously not happening at the Cavern for now because Zone's too close to it. SJ and Pilkey were stopped. The heal game is kind of interrupted. I'm not sure who exactly has all the heals. You can see all the fridges around as well. Dictating gone for now. SJ will be able to pick up a little bit of placement, but how much has he been affected? He's had to fight a little bit, go through a lot of his shields, and I'm not sure if he has many left.
Yeah, that Elim is only worth, again, 3 points, which is, in this format, equivalent to 3 placement points. So really not worth it if it's going to cost them all their heals. Already Slurpfish being used, Med Mist being used on SJ there's perspective as well. So yeah, it dug deep just to get that singular elimination to stay alive for a little longer. Don't even know why Gandhi would stay that far back in the zone. That's well out of his way, if you will. Rotten Twinkie's gonna fall to the storm there as well too. So a couple players playing some interesting plays there. SJ falls to the storm. He goes down around that 12th place as well. So decent placement points. He outpositions Ocus by about 6. That's gonna put him only 3 points as far as net gain, closing the gap, because Ocus and crew did have 2 eliminations as well. So not a very good game, not a very big gap closer like we were hoping to see.
We'll see if they can pick it up for the last ones. Shade says Lucky, usually the ones to be so good towards the end games. But we saw this happen in one game before, all the way towards the Cavern side. Whenever there's a blimp or a big station up top involved, the vehicles tend to start suffering. Everyone gets free shots down on the lobby down below, and with less people available overall too, it's not like you have like 17 trucks running around, right, Monster? You can actually now take shots out of the vehicles. There's lots of space for these gunners to be able to walk around and move.
Yeah, you can definitely pick and choose your battles here. Advantage coming into the players that are positioned up on the side and not those in the cars. Siz Lucky now getting pressured once again there. You saw being in the car like Mac would there is not going to work, even if that vehicle is a tank. Shockwaves come out. Man City threats into the zone. He has to shockwave himself back in. It's not looking too good for him. Even the slide wasn't enough to keep him out of the battle there. GG's. Again, those shots coming in, those extra ones, are from Slacks, who's staying super late into the storm. He's going to shockwave off that high ground. Don't know where he's going to land. He's got to make a big decision here, but he's still in the storm according to that map right now. I'm seeing him up there.
Right now, Out-Trumped and Daddy are actually too fast for the tanks. Big barrel to even just target their car. That U-turn might actually end up hurting them a little bit, but no, Carry getting juked for the moment. Slacks is going for a heal game type position before he actually flies. Punisher at the back knows exactly who's going to be coming down. He's focused on that no matter what, but then Bash rolls in, steals the vehicle back and forth. What's going on here?
This is a fight for Punisher here. They're trying to take him out. Punisher and Zemi are going to take some big explosion damage there. Batch looking for the side angle, but Carry's got the tank. That's a shot before he touches down. Big tag right there. And just like that, the tanks are still supreme. They managed to weather the storm here. It's not looking too good. The lobby's really cutting down now. This should be Thatch and Carry's game here. They're starting to wrap things up. Punisher's still alive, though. Does manage to squeak out to the side there. Keep him alive. This is a top 3 position for Punisher. Rift to go comes out. This is Lucky, though, waiting for the ambush here. When will he pounce? Now's the time, if ever.
to jump inside that tank and steal the gunner seat. Maybe that's when things can actually look good. They're going to bully up all the stuff around them right now when it comes to places to hide. Punisher getting a little bit of time to check in, but he takes out the one person that could have helped him in this fight. He makes it a 2v1. Shockwaves coming in. It doesn't matter. Carry with a pot shot up top. He makes his victory royale look easy.
Man, Punisher had a good amount of eliminations there. I'm actually surprised, catching 4 out the gate there in Tilted Towers. Those are some big, big points. Points that they needed as well if they want to continue to stay relevant in this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. That was just great action, I feel like, with less vehicles overall in that game. But will that action continue? We'll find out right after this break.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
जब चढ़ाई में चलो चढ़ने में तो इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती, तो थोड़ा सी बर्फ़ में यहाँ पे आंगन में ही थोड़ा सा पैर फ्रैक्चर हो गया था। मेरा नाम सीमा ठाकुर है, मैं हाउसवाइफ हूँ। वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए हमें टूटू जाना पड़ता है, नहीं तो नहीं आयुर्वेदिक वो भी है ऊपर। बच्चों के साथ आधा घंटा लग जाता है। गिरब में जो है डिस्पेंसरी, उसके लिए आधा घंटा लग जाता है। जो टूटू जाना हो तो टूटू जाने में पौना घंटा बच्चों के साथ लग जाता है और पैदल जाना पड़ता है। बारिश बर्फ़ में तो बहुत मुश्किलें होती है, क्योंकि बच्चों के साथ आना जाना बहुत दिक्कत होती है।
मेरा नाम कृष्ण लाल है जी, और मैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग में, क्योंकि कुछ साल पहले ऐसा होता था कि गांव में पता ही नहीं चलता था लोगों को कि क्या है, कोई पोलियो है तो कोई जानता नहीं था। अब जब सरकार ने इसके लिए इस तरीके के अभियान छेड़े हैं, जब तक हमारे को पूरा कंफर्म नहीं होगा कि इस बच्चे ने यहाँ पे दवाई नहीं पी या पिलाई या नहीं पिलाई, चले जाओ आप दूर दराज के क्षेत्र में चले जाओ तो हमारे को कोई ऐसा केस या ऐसा कोई बच्चा, अगर यहाँ बच्चा आ गया तो हमने यहाँ पिलानी, किसी कारणवश अगर बच्चा हो जाता, गांव में लोग रहते क्या अब तक क्या मजबूरी है उसको, क्यों नहीं आया बच्चा, क्या पता वो बीमार है या कोई उसको कोई और प्रॉब्लम है। तो हमारा ये है कि भी हमारे पास पूरी वो होती है लिस्ट बनी हुई ना कि हमारा अब लोकल टीम में तो पता ही होता है सबको कि फलानी जगह बच्चा फलानी जगह, तो हमारे पूरा पता है कि फलाना बच्चा फलानी जगह से नहीं आया। वो तो हम क्या करते हैं जैसे 4 बजे तक आज हम दवाई पिलाएंगे तो नेक्स्ट डे उसको घर में जाके दवाई पिला। वही जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि भी उसको उस सुविधा से वंचित रहना पड़ेगा।
We know you hate it when you have to wait to get back into the game, but the wait will end in seconds. In real life, some people don't have the option to restart. Millions of refugees and displaced people have their lives on hold, eager for a chance to move forward. There are 84 million people around the world who were forced to flee due to war, conflict, violence, persecution, and climate change. And we are here to serve them, working day and night to provide them with life-saving aid and support. And you can be part of it. You can help people forced to flee gain access to life-saving aid like shelter, food, water, medicine, and much more. Donate to UNHCR. Help refugees and displaced families rebuild their lives.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gamers Without Borders. Of course, I still have my two gentlemen calling all of the action. That's MDF and Shio Wager. And, you know, Fatchy and Carrie just had an incredible VR there. It looked like there was potentially something else that was going to go down, but Shio, it just seems to be if you have the tank, you have the win.
Hey, they were CEOs of the lobby and just smashed up everyone else, Monster. I feel like, you know, they were your pick to roll in with in terms of who does well, and they're just flying high right now.
I mean, listen, that's a team that I expect to do good because of their consistency throughout the years, and they're a team that has managed to stick with one another, and their relationship has only grown, right, as they managed to bond with one another and meet each other during these media days and these get-togethers. So a team like that, I can see continuing to, I guess, rise, right, within the space, and that's why, you know, I put a bet on them.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I'm going to cut you off because a poof of air, a puff of air, and if you will, it's about to get jiggly with it because, Shio, the game's ready to go.
Very nice. Let's roll out right in to this last game for NA of the day so far. And I'm calling it already, Monster. Big prediction this game. We're going to have more tanks.
Ooh, that's a very bold prediction there, buddy. Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
I'm not even sure, actually. It feels like I'm watching a playground with the amount of teams that are in this lobby so spread apart at separate POIs. But I don't know. I'm gonna unlock that answer. They're gonna unvault mechs, and we're gonna see them rain their parades around the island. That's my okay, never mind. I don't know what to expect because let's watch AV do that. Interesting.
Yeah, were we trying to hype up AV yesterday, man? And he comes in with his greatest play yet. That was just crazy. Running from Chap and Degen, by the way, who are on the
tactical
dropship here. Degen does have this launchpad or the jetpacks to play with. They both have equipped themselves up with it. Oh, it's not looking good. It is not looking good.
It's gonna be tough. Degen rattling on that vehicle. This assault rifle, slower fire rate, but a little bit more punch to pack as it moves around. He can jetpack over to the other two chests too. That's the malleability of this item. Very nice. That car's at 1 HP.
All right, ends up working out here. Tasker looking to bounce back here. AV as well. So Medkit was good, but these guys are not giving it up just yet. Here comes the extra pressure now. Couple anvils in for a good measure to say, hey, you're not free just yet. We see you.
Yeah, they can't just skateboard over to the gas station. You know, they gotta leave town.
Hey, leave that for me, okay? Yeah, time to get out of here. No doubt about it. Let's see how DJen and chat managed to overcome this. Seems like they're just gonna chill, you know, make do with the surrounding area. Go ahead and get to looting. Vert and Cease on the other side, different story. Pookie and SJ, we already know their cover's been blown. All right, people are not giving them the free pass anymore for the heal off that they were trying to attempt last game. Not sure what happens here, but Cease might have been the victim of a snipe shot from the distance.
Yeah, Gandhi, LMG in hand, rocking in. I think these guys are just mega accurate. They're kind of enemies with the entire lobby. They're running around and just bullying anyone, players, healers, and vehicles alike.
I don't know how you get taken out by a Ranger and LMG from that far, but that definitely just happened. It must be a quick succession of some headshots there. Let's watch it though. Dictating and Gandhi here. So far, so good for them. I mean, they played that last game very interesting. Stood inside the storm line. Clearly was not successful at that. Lose to SJ and Pilkey, the team that has arguably the lowest amount of eliminations with the highest score in the tournament. So not sure what that says about Dictating and Gandhi, but probably gonna have to hit the drawing board on what went wrong in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have much board to go to because this might just be the last chance for a few of these players. Let's see exactly how they rock though. Thoughts on syllables in words? Is there a sweet spot to how many syllables there should be in words in general? Like, what is the best amount of syllables in a word in terms of sound and feel?
I think when it comes down to it, less is more sometimes. And my answer here is 1, maybe
Really?
2, no more than 3.
Really? I'm on the 4 side. Explain why 4-syllable words are just too much to handle.
Like even the word congratulations, just a long word.
Congratulations. That's 5. I agree with you. 5 is way too
That's what
much.
I'm saying. Why not just say congrats?
Exfoliate?
See?
How would you shorten exfoliate?
Shed.
Dang. Okay. No, you're right, maybe.
Simple.
Okay.
Don't say he's trying to exfoliate his position. He's trying to light on this
Exfoliate his position?
It's too big. The words just don't fit in.
I just wish Mac would have like one of these exfoliating brushes in a box, just trying to look good in one of these FNCSs. That's actually hilarious.
Can you imagine intentionally trying to structure a broadcast around 5-syllable punchlines?
I've thought about it a lot. I've actually thought about it a lot.
That'd be very intense.
Yeah. Be insanely high levels of trying to use your brain to cast. You know, like in terms of casting and like mental exercises, like we burn a lot of calories doing this, eh? Like it's close to chess. Like it's 2 to 3K for like a 6-hour broadcast.
Yeah, I was actually going through that the other day because we're just talking about like, yeah, I don't get a lot of exercise, but believe it or not, probably burn a lot of calories when your brain's in like straight active mode. And then you look at what it takes to like, continuously project yourself, but more importantly, your thinking, right? So like all that stuff goes into it at the same time. And I mean, I'm sure you felt, but like after a show, you could be like genuinely exhausted. Like you just want to kick back, eat some good food, and probably just chill, like sleep it off.
That's why I steal the souls of the players I cast, so I can revitalize really fast and then like keep casting, you know?
That's the secret.
That's the way.
Gotta get myself a soul wallet to store stuff later.
AV's got multiple of them. He already lost one this game and then another one right here once again. So, you know, soul wallet the heck up.
Can you imagine?
Chop also rolling in, having a good time.
A little high-speed chase here on the western coast. Not looking good for Dictating and Gandhi. Now falling into the hands of Vert and Cease. This is very ironic. Again, Cease, one of those types of players, not one to W key really anybody. So falling to the hands of players that are more passive in that sense here. Not looking good for Gandhi right now.
That might get crazy for a lot of these players. I think the most patient are the ones who are going to be playing normally. But patience and NA, I don't think those two letters are inside that word. So actually they are in a different order. Regardless, what I'm trying to say is these players might just go crazy and WP each other.
Ooh, yeah, I can definitely see this continue to play out here. Lobby really starting to get active now. Gandhi, though, still in the fight right here, not trying to just run over and get sent over. Oh my gosh. It would have been even better had it been Pilkey who actually took him out here. I was gonna say, was he gonna sit behind there, maybe check out the loot, but nope. He didn't want no part of that.
Oh, Cease is going crazy for this one. All Pilkey wants to do is run away and heal up, and I'm pretty sure those were a little bit of his meds that he might have just left behind as well. Just on a roll to find as many fruits, fish, and splashes as possible as the route planned out. Everyone else is just taking their sweet old time getting into the zone.
Definitely no need to rush it here. They have, again, plenty of time to work with, but again, you saw there on the map shot, there's been tons of Western zones. I'm gonna continue to believe in the fact that like Western zones are just way more dominant this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw one of these pages where like over 2 weekends, someone was doing a little bit more analysis even after Kinch. There was not a single zone that went towards Coney Crossroads or that bottom right. Like there was nothing there whatsoever, a single time out of an entire cash cup. So I feel like those players might be a little bit lucky in terms of being able to get surged during some big events because they're always on the move. But at the same time, they always have to move, right?
Definitely a sweet spot there. You know, on the I guess the flip side, you could say that, hey, I know the zone's gonna land closer to us. Let's go east because players are gonna be coming in. So play up into some of these dominant positions. A lot of ways you can definitely utilize that additional knowledge, I guess, to your advantage. Here though, this is just like, yeah, I know tanks are strong. So do you. What do you want to do about it? Go toe to toe. Doesn't work out well for Logic. Janman, however, though, looks like he's actually coming out on top of this exchange if he can just get a knock here. Okay. This is tough.
Oh, no. If he spaced out those cow catchers a little bit better, he could have had, you know, protection from both sides. But, yeah, against Fashion Carry, against the caster scripted narrative, you just can't win.
Yeah, that is true. Casters are always right, except when we're not. But even then, we're ultimately right at some point or another, so...
Yeah, 37% right all the time, even in incorrectness. That's how it goes.
37% correct always.
Yep.
That works.
I hope so. You can actually use those webs to jump cars. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Was that what he did? He drove into a web and hit the got a speed boost off of it.
Yeah, he had like a cow catcher on the battle bus too. That is one of the most destructive things in the game, and it's not going to break the web. It'll just push the car out in front. That's actually wild.
It's long range action right now from threats. Couple tags here. Legendary anvil launcher and an extra for good measure there. Shades and Sizlucky doing just that as well. It's just explosion on top of explosion. Yeah, I was gonna say you're not getting away from this. Like you're really not.
Oh my god.
Multiple anvils coming in and tank pressure. You're doomed.
This is so tough. Shades also bullied, beamed down. Punisher and Zemi, with less players, they become even stronger. Vehicles have been the bane of their existence, but with none of them basically rolling around on the map, they just get to shoot whoever they want.
Looking good right now. Skies are clear as well for Punisher and Zemi. Once again, airdrop of choices for them. The last time we saw them here, though, they definitely did get pushed by a team, but we'll see it here. Sizlucky and Zemi getting... Are they getting rolled up on by another team right now?
Zemi's flying in.
Someone on the distance.
Zemi's shockwaving straight in, knows that Shades is low. They jump right back into the tank. He's gonna shockwave up, get very close and comfortable with it. Seat switches, tanks up into the sky. Shades stays down below, though. That's trouble, and now they're really just there, up in the air for Punisher to shoot down. Shades knocked. What a way to get people off a tank.
That's so crazy because they forced him into the rift, and well, Punisher never left high ground, so it's even closer for him to land shots. You just gave him more of an advantage when they thought they were disengaging. Now, though, Zemi is, of course, left to have to cross over to Punisher here. All in all, he gets back pretty quickly. That rift there still being recyclable as it does sit down for a couple seconds. Take a look here, though. Not letting any of these vehicles come in for free.
Yeah. Carrying Fatch usually end up doing the 2-vehicle rotation, so the tank doesn't take all the damage. Repairing the truck, though, very interesting. They want to keep going forward. This is just smart. You just end up double buffing the HP pool completely, but you lose a lot of the charges on your repair torch, so I wonder how long this can really last.
Yeah, it's just bait, honestly. They're just baiting them out. Let them use their ammo and stuff on this vehicle. Don't worry about it. As long as we save the tank, we're good. This is some big brain plays here. Like you said, it is definitely costly to that repair torch, so Carry gets tagged a few times there, which is kind of wild to think about because the angle has to be really precise to land a tag on someone inside the truck. The least amount of visibility there. IO guards still housing their vehicle down low.
I thought that was a player. I was like, wow, Punisher's really dropping it to that guy. But yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah, no.
We get one every season. We get one every season.
That is true.
So thoughts on this overshield, right? Or the overcharged shield being in for like the first 3 zones in competitive.
I can see it just staying in the game in general. I think it's
general though, because I feel like in late like 9th zone, right? Those 1v1s, it's nice to see people actually damaged and people have a chance for that comeback shot, right? Like, I feel like if overcharge was in the game, we wouldn't have like the crazy Spider-Man, 1v1 all the way swing up the height big pumps that we saw last season. But I feel like it's really good for early game, like in terms of getting people more aggressive for surge and stuff. Like it has a purpose.
I think you answered it, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a big pump in the game, So,
oh, true.
You know what I mean? Like I think the overshield can fit in. I genuinely do think it makes sense. But yeah, you're right? Like if you have overshield and then you have building, it extends those fights like a lot longer. You kind of have to get through that initial barrier. But I think it just gives more room for those weapons that do pack a punch. Like you said, like a big pump or, a headshot from a ranger or something like that can really chunk you down. What I like about it, though, is it, to me, mitigates the whole idea of, how much of a disadvantage are you at, right? And if you're more skilled, well, you should have better chances because you know what I mean? You have, like, the resources to work with, essentially.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, no one likes to be on, like, less than 100 points of health. you know you're pretty ripped at that point.
100%. What's Carey doing to these dogs, man? They're just trying to live their life in the wild, and he's running them over with a tank. That's not very polite. Karma will come to this, man.
Fun fact, someone knocked on my door, what was it, like yesterday? And there was like a big Rottweiler, apparently, on our driveway, and they were like, hey, is this your dog? And he was like the friendliest big dog ever, and I'm like, no. Like, that is not my animal.
What the dog doing?
Yeah, she just put the dog in her back seat, and I guess she went on to post it on Facebook and stuff, trying to see if they could find the owners. But yeah, such a friendly big animal just randomly ended up on my driveway.
How do you lose that big of an animal as well? Like, you have to notice if its presence is not in your house, right? Like, I feel like it takes up oxygen, like it becomes easier to breathe when like your dog's not at home.
My dogs are big enough that they, like, when people drive or like walk by the fence, they like to jump and push the fence, and we've already had several boards get knocked out. Like,
oh man,
I just go back. Yeah, I swear, I go back and I just hammer it in, like, super janky. But it's a couple sections on my fence. I'm probably about due for some new planks.
This man is repairing the builds, essentially.
Quite literally.
Yeah, I have a little rat dog, so I never have that problem. He's just very noisy. Pomeranian. So, you know how it goes.
Yeah, I don't want one of those. It's probably nice and all, but I like my
literally
big
a rat. It's actually a rat, so I respect it.
I did, however, have, like, where I live, there's a crazy gust of wind that comes through the backyard. And there was this one time, it literally took, like, a good chunk of the fence, like the fence that's between me and the neighbor, right? That kind of, like, separates our two properties. And it basically destroyed the wood off the post, like, snapped it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how, but that's how much wind comes from that angle. So you can imagine how much, like, how windy it must have been all night for it to snap over these really thick wooden posts.
Yeah. Oh, you got
really
like
cool. It's really cool.
Airbender somewhere in Texas.
I love it though. Love it though. You go in my backyard, bro. It's super windy. It's like we literally live like on this perfect corner cul-de-sac that's got the wind draft coming in from the open field house. Do not say too much. Someone's like, open field, gas station. Yeah, I think I found it, guys. This is only so big. This looks like...
I see someone skateboarding. That's crazy.
Enough description, dude. Could you imagine enough description like that? Like mad general when someone finds your spot.
That's what I'm scared of, man. That's what I'm scared of. Gotta keep it, random at times. You gotta lie a bit. Yeah, there's a great statue of, Jonesy somewhere near my place, 2-minute walk away, stuff like that. Look at this though. This is the third zone-ish, fifth zone now actually. It seems like it's the third with how far people are apart, but it's going down now. 8 people all left. They're all fighting over the same tank. This is like 9th zone endgame. They're shooting their own tank to get Zemi out of it.
Yes, sir. Zemi tries to find a couple more points there, but he's not going to get enough here. Okus, however, is making his way all the way to endgame, sitting inside the zone. This is for the highlight package. Here we go. The end of day number, this could be 2 or 3. Things have just been racking up here now. But look at this. We're trying to find a POV. There's not many alive here. 2 teams left in the game. Okus being one of them, playing for the zone heal. This is very cool. The only way he can pull that off is he threw the heal in the air directly, then went for the med kit. Very cool play there. It looks like it is going to work. He goes for a second one as well. I wish they caught the full thing. Have you seen that tech though, Shayo?
I have not seen that tech before. This is just crazy from Okus. Never really seen before. Med misting straight up to the next spot. How long will he keep us in this Fortnite limbo heal game in the end? He understands he's not going to be able to survive the entire time. Maybe just take second. Relax a bit. There's 2 people left. Okus sees his 2 teams, but he doesn't want to leave Gamers Without Borders. He's still rocking in, looking for any chance to stay alive. 2 more splashes, 1 more big meat stick to eat. Daddy and out Trump, they were drifting around the entire lobby. They're looking good for now. Okus finds nothing of use inside this house. Let's see exactly what he does. The celebration at the end is throwing up the dub. That's what I'm talking about. Second place all the way towards the end. Emote it down. What a good spot today for NA.
GG's for Okus there. Second place, another consistent game to close out with a different style of play there. But of course, taking home a win has to feel nice as well at the very end there. So well played for everyone that's participated and competed today. This is just the beginning of what could be something amazing.
That's absolutely nuts game so far. We'll be right back with a recap right after this break.
Big shout outs to Out Trumped and Daddy there, winning the final game of North America for today, wrapping up their score and hopefully finding a spot in the top 5. Because remember, everyone, although $3 million will be donated to charity for our winning teams out of all of our regions, the top 5 teams from each region have the opportunity to make it to the LAN tournament that's going to be in Saudi Arabia this summer. But gentlemen, we have to recap what we just saw there because it looked like it could have been a heel-off potential. I'm sure Okus and Nut are still pretty confident in that first place spot right now. But Daddy and Trump, Shayo, did they do anything out of the norm?
I just feel like they took the fight when it was supposed to be taken. This sounds like a post-basketball game interview. We played good offense and they played bad defense, but that's essentially what it was. They jumped in, they landed the shots, and it looked good.
Anything else that stuck out to you, MDF? I mean, was there anything that was surprising to you today?
Yeah, I like the usage of the cow catchers there at the very end to give themselves that nice little fort. But take a look at the overall rankings. Nullifying Okus closed out in strong fashion there. And we got the emote for good measure there too. 30 points or so ahead of the competition there. It's close, though, inside that top 5. We were just talking about Rogue Shark, Macwood, Carry, and SJ's duos are all going to be the ones that manage to pop off. But Pilkey and SJ actually do finish the tournament with just 9 eliminations, no wins, and 387 points. It's actually incredible.
It truly is incredible to see pretty much everyone in our top 6 have at least one, if not 2 VRs, as well as close to 50 eliminations. And Pilkey and Cash haven't even broken 10 eliminations. So I don't think I've ever seen in any Fortnite tournament such a dichotomy of success, Shio.
Yeah, it's honestly just not the size of their elims that matters. It's the motion of the heals that they have in these POIs. It's just nuts to see from this second place team. And I'm wondering if they can even carry this over towards LAN or, you know, so far if it sticks for the rest of the tournament.
I don't know if this strategy is going to work for a live event that has all 50 duo teams competing live, but it is definitely something that's working out today, and that is what these incredible tournaments are all about. 1, donating millions to charity, but 2, also seeing what kind of pocket strats teams come out with. And clearly, Pilkey and SJ Cash going for the heal off has found some success for them. So that is the overall ranking for our North American teams. Currently, Knight and Rogue Shark fitting out that 5th place spot right there. And again, that's what these teams are fighting for, the top 5, because those are the teams that are going to move forward to the LAN tournament in just a few months. But guys, that is it for us right now. We, of course, are going to have more Fortnite action coming to you tomorrow. So make sure to follow this Twitch channel right now and follow Gamers Without Borders online, everyone, because we have more tournaments and more games coming up in the following weeks. But as we end this off right now, MDF, anything else that you want to close off with?
No, listen, guys, if you're trying to chase onto Rogue Shark and, of course, Knight there, who are holding that top 5 spot, you're about 20 points off. So you are still well within reach. It's only 7 eliminations. Players are going to have to step up, especially if you want to make it all the way through.
And of course, Shio, you're there right now. We can't have a Fortnite event without you. So to be able to do something for a charity event like this, what does that mean?
I mean, it's just amazing. Even just seeing some of the ads that were rolling in, the awareness of what's going on around the world. It's just nice to see that this is potentially something that players can learn about, get involved with as well. And I'm just really thankful to be able to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form.
Could not have said it better myself, everyone. This is an incredible opportunity, not just for the players, but for us here on the show as well. So for you guys to watch and be a part of it, that means everything to us. And we want to make sure that you guys are here tomorrow as well to find out the thrilling conclusion of which 5 teams from each region will move forward to the LAN tournament. But for right now, everyone, and on behalf of all of our other casters and hosts, we thank you guys so much, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow.